Tees it from the 35. At the 7, Phillips across the 20 to the 23-yard line, and that's where the Green Bay Packers will start 1st and 10. The tackle by number 27 defensively for the Buccaneers, Fred Acorn, a rookie out of Texas. The offensive set for the Green Bay Packers, Lynn Dickey, he's wearing a flak jacket. The injury that Gene Fugate talked about at the opening, and of course at wide receiver you've got Lofton along with Jefferson. The tight end is Paul Kaufman, and the running backs as we come out, Jesse Clark, number 33, along with Gary Ellis, number 31. There is what Lynn Dickey did a week ago. Some offensive problems for Green Bay. Sweep to the right side. Bowling his way up across the 30-yard line goes number 31, Gary Ellis. 5th year out of Missouri, signed by the Packers as a free agent, and the rookie from USC, Keith Browner, came up to make the hit. Gene, the Buccaneers play a 3-4 defense.
Well, in the 3-4 defense, you got the 3 down linemen, of course, and the 4 linebackers, and it's going to present a little problem because the starting guards for the Green Bay Packers used to be starting tackles, and they're not quite used to not having anybody in front of them.
Dickey bends in, looks at 2nd down and 2 from the 32 of Green Bay. Jesse Clark, the lone running back. He hammers forward, and that should be close to 1st down yardage for Forrest Gregg. Green Bay Packers. Jeff Davis in his 3rd year from Clemson. The left side inside linebacker came up to make the hit defensively for Tampa Bay. Green Bay, they beat the St. Louis Cardinals in their season opener 24-23, but then 3 straight losses, first to the Raiders, then to the Bears, then to the Cowboys, and they only scored 6 points last week. In fact, they've only scored 20 points, the Packers have, in their last 3 games.
You know, Jim, that's going to work one of 2 ways. I talked to several Packers before the game, and all of them said this is a must-win game. I mean, you know, we're 1-3, and if you get too far down in this division, it's so tough to come from behind. And they all feel it's a must-win game, but that can work 2 ways. It can either help you to a great game or it can make you a little tighter than you normally would be and not be able to play like you normally do.
The officials for today's game headed up by the referee Chuck Heberling, and you saw Chuck's indication just inches shy about the width of the pole, in fact, of 1st down yardage. So Green Bay will deploy 3 tight ends. Number 82, Paul Kaufman. Number 81, Gary Lewis. And number 86, the rookie out of Auburn, Ed West. The backs are split, Gary Ellis and Jesse Clark. Tampa Bay's defense led by Jeff Davis, chopping down Gary Ellis behind the line of scrimmage. How about that on 3rd and inches? Now, it's a late developing play. If the blocking's not there, you've got no chance. Yeah,
it's really tough, Jim. I talked to some of the coaches, and they're going to try to go right at Logan on those short yardage situations, but nothing was there. They had to bump outside, and Leroy Selman is not the place you want to go on short yardage.
You're looking at number 29. He's the newest of the Bucs. You can't get much fresher than Neon Leon Bright, the former Florida State star running back who became known for refusing to fair catch when he played with the New York Giants. He just signed on with the Buccaneers yesterday, replacing James Owens, who was placed on injured reserve. That is Bucky Scribner, who totes about a 46-yard punting average into this game. He lines a low, wobbly kick. Bright to the 30. Up across the 30, near the 36-yard line. So the Bucs in good field position on their very first possession. There is a penalty flag down, however, back on the 30-yard line of Green Bay. So let's check the call with Chuck Heberling, our referee. That is a costly penalty to start the football game. All of a sudden, instead of starting 1st and 10 at your own 36-yard line, you've given the Green Bay Packers a 1st down. And penalty something that has plagued the Bucs all season long.
Yeah, I think John McKay, the coach for the Buccaneers, just aged about a year or 2 on that play.
We have an illegal formation on offense, and the defense was offside. They will offset. It is 4th down.
So there was another flag, and that's a break for the Buccaneers. So it's still 4th down, and there is John McKay wearing the sunglasses on the sideline. Of course, over a week ago, John had some cataract surgery, but he was back at practice, as we saw him this week, and conducting his normal routine.
Yeah, John looked great. Now that 2 flags were down, I think now he just got a couple years younger. But he's really excited about this team. He thinks his team is going to do well, even though the record hasn't been too good to date.
Leon Bright, number 29, is back deep, and Scribner this time just gets it away. No flags are down. It's a high, beautiful kick. It backs up Bright to the 18, across the 25, and he hurdles up near the 28-yard line. So Tampa Bay's first possession starts from that point. 1st and 10. The tackle by number 58, Mark Cannon. the offensive set of the Buccaneers. Steve DeBerg, second start since taking over for Jack Thompson and making up that 14-0 deficit against Detroit. James Wilder, a hammering, punishing type of runner. And, of course, the tight end, Jimmy Giles, one of the best. It's a young offensive line, and it's been a problem. Quite frankly, Sanders on the left side had all he could handle a week ago against Lawrence Taylor, but I guess that's not really saying anything.
Well, I talked to Donnie Humphrey, who's going to be the defensive end playing in front of him all game, and he thinks he saw some things he can take advantage of. We'll have to keep a look at that as we watch the game.
Two tights for Tampa Bay. Bell, inside hole, right side, big move. Heller and Farrell opened it up for James Wilder in his 4th year out of Missouri. The tackle made by the rookie out of Pittsburgh, Tommy Flynn. The Packers in a 3-4 set defensively. Their linebackers are good. They've got 2 rookies on the defensive end spots.
Yeah, I asked Mike Douglas how the young guys were playing in front of him, and he says they're playing with a lot of aggressiveness. They're still learning techniques. They're still learning coverages, but he says they play so hard and aggressive they open things up for that great set of linebackers. And I must admit that I'm glad I don't have to play against linebackers like those at Green Bay or Tampa Bay for that matter.
When you look at number 32, James Wilder, as they break the huddle, the Buccaneers have run the ball now 111 times. James Wilder has carried 84 of those times. Do you think he's not involved in the offense? A timeout taken on their very first possession, just the second snap. DeBerg had to take the timeout. Now, this was very interesting because in talking with DeBerg this week at the Buccaneers practice, he said it takes so long for Tampa Bay to get in their plays that sometimes they barely have time to call it and get up to the line of scrimmage. Thompson and DeBerg over on the sideline trying to work out their own kind of a wigwag system. So DeBerg had to take a timeout. You see him trying to signal the play in early. We'd like to welcome those of you that have seen the Dallas-Chicago game. The Cowboys on top over the Bears 23-14. That means, of course, that Chicago falls to 3-2. Meanwhile, Dallas ups their record to 4-1.
Well, I guess that's the master and the teacher and the student. Mike Ditka being the student, he learned a lot of good lessons from Tom Landry, but I guess not enough to beat him yet.
Did you play with Ditka?
Well, Mike was number 89 and I was number 84 for 1 year, and then he was my coach for a couple of years after that.
What kind of a coach was he when he started out?
Very, very aggressive. He always worked on me on trying to be more aggressive. I guess a lot of people today can see that in that Chicago defense. I remember one game I played in, and he told me to go out and be aggressive. I was so aggressive, I got thrown out of the game for fighting, and only to find out later I was supposed to play the whole second half.
2nd and 5, Tampa Bay. Scoreless early in the first quarter. Wide to the left, Kevin Houch. James Wilder set 5 yards deep. He's got a convoy to the left side. Chopped down at the 36-yard line. Goes the 4th-year running back of Missouri by Randy Scott. This telecast presented by authority of the National Football League. It's intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the National Football League is prohibited.
You know, James Wilder is going from unknown to well-known. I talked to several defensive players on the Packers, and they all said that all 11 men on defense will always be aware of where Wilder is. So he's the number 1 person they have to take away to be successful on defense.
Partially because of the graphic you just saw, a new category in the NFL. Motioned across by Armstrong. House top of the screen. Safety valve to Wilder. Wilder first down for the Bucs at their own 46-yard line. Mark Murphy, the strong side safety, number 37, the first to get there.
Steve DeBerg said that we could look for some passes to the running backs this week. Tampa Bay used to be known as a big play offense, but DeBerg, who played for Bill Walsh in San Francisco and also out at Denver, he played there, he has learned to use his backs as more of a ball control technique as opposed to trying to get the big play, trying to get the first down and keep going.
James Wilder, number 32 for the Bucs, came into this game with 194 yards in pass receptions. That's number 1 in the National Football League among running backs. Motion by Carter across on 1st and 10 Bucs. James Wilder bangs across the 50 down to the 49 of Green Bay in the grasp of Randy Scott and Mark Murphy. Nobody has touched the ball on offense except DeBerg and that man, James Wilder.
Well, when you're talking James Wilder, I mean, he had over half of their total offense last week, and that even included return yardage. And Lawrence Taylor had a lot of nice things to say about James Wilder, and we talked to James about that this week. And I think he feels like it's about time people started noticing him down here in Tampa.
How about what Lawrence Taylor said? He said he is the toughest running back I have ever played against.
And that's saying something.
2nd and 5 from the 49 of Green Bay. Motion by Armstrong, top of the screen. Wilder 3 Packers, and he's close to first down yardage again. George Cumbie, number 52 out of Oklahoma in his 5th year. The first linebacker to get there, helped out by John Anderson, number 59. Blocking over on the right side by Sean Farrell and Ron Heller, a couple of Penn Staters.
Yeah, and you got to mention Jimmy Giles. We got to talk about the tight ends. Now, I must admit, I'm a little partial to him.
A little.
But every time you go around that end, if the tight end didn't make a good block, they didn't go anywhere. And that time, Jimmy Giles jumped out pretty good, had made good contact, and didn't quite get a hook on him, but enough for Wilder to turn upfield and make good yardage.
3rd and less than the length of the football. 3 tight ends, Jimmy Giles, Jerry Bell in there along with Mark Whitty. Wilder comes the other way. First down for the Bucs at the 42 of Green Bay. Tim Lewis, 2nd year from Pittsburgh, went down low. A former number 1 draft pick of Green Bay.
You know, watching James Wilder, he reminds me of a young Calvin Hill or a Chuck Foreman, because he's a lot taller than you think he is. Here he gets the ball. Tim Lewis with a good hit, but look at that balance.
Kind of like a bowling ball knocking down bowling pins. Candlestick bowling.
Yeah, I think James likes to make those defensive backs feel it. They're going to run up there and try to put a lick on him.
From the 42 of Green Bay, Kevin House comes out wide to the left side. Giles lines up in a slot. Gerald Carter top of the screen. Wants House. Incomplete at the 9-yard line. Timmy Lewis back there on the coverage.
And that's what we were talking about earlier, about being able to know your receivers, to gauge his speed. I mean, Kevin House has burning speed. And here DeBerg drops back, he has time, and he lays the ball up, but it was just a little underthrown. And that's the type of thing that as they get to know each other, you'll see less and less of in the season.
Good coverage by Timmy Lewis.
Yeah, I talked to Tim, and he says he wants to be very physical with these receivers. He thinks if he can be physical, they'll think about him rather than catching the ball.
This is going to be a physical game because the Bucs echoed those sentiments exactly. They're going to try to rattle Lynn Dickey and Lofton and Jefferson, and they know when they come over the middle, they're going to get punished. Carver in motion. Wilder, blocked by Carver, hurls across down to the 37, maybe the 36-yard line. Mark Murphy, the man that got there first.
You know, this NFC Central Division has always been known as a very tough and physical division. Looks like we have a flag on that play, Jim.
Over on the far side of the field. Let's check with Chuck Heberling, our referee. It was 2nd and 10.
Defense, number 76, lined up offside. 2nd down.
That is the rookie, Alfonso Carricker, the rookie out of Florida State.
But as I was telling you earlier about this NFC Central, they didn't call it the black and blue division for nothing. I remember the Bears, I remember the Lions, and of course now Tampa and Green Bay, always very, very physical.
2nd and 5. Armstrong lines up flanker right. House to the left. Carter top of the screen. Wilder again almost mishandled the snap from DeBerg and is banged backwards at the 32 of Green Bay. Randy Scott, the man that just hammered and drove James Wilder, and that is no easy task.
To be sure. Randy Scott, one of the inside linebackers for the Green Bay Packers, calls most of the defensive coverages. He gets the signal from the sideline, and sometimes you can see him standing behind the huddle, looking to the sideline to find out what the coverage is going to be. That's number 55, Randy Scott. He's looking now. He's not sure. I guess they got it together.
3rd and a long yard is Kevin House. Top of the screen. In the slot, Gerald Carter. And still, James Wilder is going inside the 15. Wilder, touchdown. Not only did James Wilder pull the ball down after another misconnection between DeBerg, but he was like a locomotive from the 15-yard line in. Take another look and watch here. He almost fumbled the ball right there.
Well, here he takes excellent concentration to get the ball back, and wow, look at that balance. He's stumbling. He's on one hand. He retains his balance, and boy, that James Wilder, number 32, going in for the big score.
He just carried Timmy Lewis the last 6 yards like a knapsack.
Well, I tell you, that reminds me of Calvin Hill, because Calvin Hill was so strong he could carry people like that.
Garcia out of the hold of Blair Keel is good. So the Bucs score on their very first possession. There's a penalty flag down, which I believe will be roughing the kicker, and if it's against Green Bay, it'll be assessed against the kickoff. O'Reary's the last man. Out of bounds, inside the Bucs' 43-yard line. Fred Acorn, the rookie from Texas. Otherwise, Epps was gone. So the Packers come right back with a big play of their own on the opening kickoff after that Tampa Bay drive. 7-0 Bucs over Green Bay. And Hugh Green coming at Lynn Dickey, who breaks the huddle. They have two tight ends, the Packers do. Gary Lewis is number 81, Paul Kaufman number 82. Lofton wide to the left. The back is Gary Ellis. Intercepted by Tampa Bay at the 35-yard line. That's Scott Brantley out of Florida. Well, we talked at the top of the telecast. Look at the replay. The mistiming between Dickey and his receiver.
Here comes Dickey setting up. He looks like he's setting up pretty good, but he has a lot of pressure on him, and he throws it to a tough area.
Threw it right into the middle of double coverage. So the Bucs have a 7-0 lead, and they've got the ball back again. At 3 plays and a punt and 1 snap and an interception from the 38. Jimmy Giles and Jerry Bell, the two tight ends, as Steve DeBerg bends in. For Kevin House, and this one is picked off by the Packers' Timmy Lewis. Back to the 40, blocking across midfield. Out of bounds at the 42.
You know, Jim, that's the second time today that it looked like House might be breaking deep and getting open, and DeBerg underthrew him again for the second time. Here we see it on the replay. Steve sets up well, and he throws, but he didn't get quite enough on it because you see he was breaking clear. And Tim Lewis comes back and makes a great play, interception, just like he told me he was going to do it on Wednesday.
That is Tim Lewis's 3rd interception of this young football season. The Green Bay Packers defense much improved. Now let's see what this will do to the momentum of the game, because it was very much in the favor of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Packers get a break, and they're starting out from the 43 of Tampa Bay. Lofton wide left, Jefferson to the near side. Dickey looks it over and gives to Gary Ellis. Huge hole. They won't catch him. Jesse Clark puts 6 on the board for the Packers. Blocking on the right side by Greg Cook in his 8th year out of Arkansas, and Ron Hallstrom, 3rd year out of Iowa.
Well, that could have been the play that the Packers needed, because the Packers have been looking for a big play for the last few games. They came out last series starting out with a big pass, and it didn't work. But this time, Dickey says, I'm going to cross him up. I'm going to hand off the ball to Jesse Clark, and Jesse comes off the right side with some great blocking. He sees that opening, he turns it on, and it's a great feeling when you're running like that, Jim, when you don't see anybody in front of you except the end zone flag.
Interesting, too, is you see him out running the secondary. John McKay told us this week about his secondary. They're very intelligent, but they don't have good speed. Example of it there. Scribner holds for Eddie Garcia. Bucks jumped off sides. Garcia rams it through the uprights anyway, but Chuck Heberling will have to confer with his fellow officials here.
You know, we talked about the Green Bay Packer line before. They have at left guard number 74, Tim Huffman, and at right guard number 65, Ron Hallstrom, both of which used to be offensive tackles. Now they're guards, and that last play, Tim Huffman came out and made a great block to help free Jesse Clark.
John McKay.
You know, that line is so big. You know, they got guys 6'6", 6'5", 6'6", 6'4", 280 pounds, and there's Forrest Gregg, who hopes that that's going to be the play that turns around the fortune for the Packers this season, because they've been waiting to break it loose. He said last week in Dallas they were inches away from breaking it loose. A ball was tipped and Lofton just missed it. He might have gone, I guess, about 70 yards for a touchdown, and that's how close they've been all year to breaking it, and this might be the day.
A bit of a conclave for Chuck Heberling, our referee. This is a little bit more than just jumping off sides for Tampa Bay. Was he drawn off sides?
We have a false start on the center, simulating the start of a play. There'll be a 5-yard penalty.
Oh, you don't want to do that. You don't want to simulate the start of a play.
And if you're going to do it, you're not going to do it on the kick. So I can tell you he didn't do it on purpose. But there used to be some centers, you know, who used to get up to the line real quick. There's Forrest Gregg on the sideline. And there used to be some centers like, I know Len Haas for the Redskins. He used to be very famous for being able to draw the team offside by flinching just a little bit, enough so the official doesn't see it, but the other team comes flying across the line.
This is more than a chip shot extra point. It's from the 15, so it's a 25-yard extra point for Garcia out of the hold of Scribner, and it is perfect. So after that interception and an ensuing touchdown run along with Leon Bright, number 29, Eddie Garcia bangs a low end-over-end kick. Leon Bright at the 3. Bright breaks it big across the 30, down to the 33, and Eddie Garcia, the kicker, the last man to get to him, or he would have had a 97-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. Next week here on CBS Sports, the Saints will battle the Bears, who have already lost today to Dallas. The Vikings will take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And, of course, it all starts with the NFL Today with Brent Musburger. So check your local listings for the game in your area next weekend here on CBS Sports. DeBerg brings out the Bucs, starts 1st and 10 from his 34. House to the near side. Giles and Bell, the 2 tight ends for Tampa Bay. And Wilder, 5, now 6 yards deep. He'll get the ball. Loose football. Packers have it. Scooped up at the 49 and returned about a yard by number 37. That is Mark Murphy. So 2 plays and 2 turnovers for Tampa Bay.
Well, we can see it right here. He hands off to Wilder, and somebody comes from behind to get him.
That's Randy Scott, number 55. And Mike Douglas, 53. Now watch, here's 37, Murphy.
Well, that's Mike Douglas. I talked to him before the game, and he said, tell everybody that the Mad Dog, Mike Douglas, is going to be on a dog attack. And remember, I'm Mike Douglas, and Lawrence who?
From the 47 of Tampa Bay, Green Bay starts 1st and 10. Dickey has Jefferson wide right, Lofton wide left. Clark, who has the touchdown run. The lone running back. Play action faked by Dickey. Pump fake by Lynn. He's got Lofton inside the 25. John Holt in his 4th year from West Texas State. Tough to cover James Lofton one-on-one.
You see Lynn Dickey's flak jacket is very huge. You can see it bulging out, but he looks like he's getting back very well, but he says it has to inhibit him just a little on the throw. You can see right there when he pumped how much it slowed his arm up. Boy, it must be kind of tough to move around like that.
Injured Packer back at about midfield, number 68 Greg Cook out of Arkansas. You know, talking about that flak jacket of Lynn Dickey's, he said it's really quite an adjustment that he's got to make every week, because you practice all week long and you don't wear it. Then you strap it on Sunday. He said the elastic goes around the middle and it almost shuts off his oxygen flow. He said it's very uncomfortable and he's much more restricted.
Right, but we all know that, you know, with that back the way it is, there's no way that he could play without it. You know, there's been a big difference between this year and last year with the receivers for Green Bay. And this year, they're still trying to catch up. And one of the big reasons, I think, that, especially when you see Paul Kaufman has only caught 3 passes, that the reason there is that he has an injured left knee that has slowed him down. And this is only his 2nd start of the season. Jefferson said he's going to try to get on track this week. And, of course, Lofton, who just made the big catch, is always a factor in the Packer offense.
Dickey last year at this time had 9 touchdown tosses. To this point, he has just 1. Jefferson in motion, top of your screen. Lofton wide left. Ellis, nothing doing, and you see the gang tackling in the pursuit of that Tampa Bay defense. Jerry Ellis tried to get outside. Scott Brantley the first to get there.
You know, John Holt told me that the way to try to stop Lofton is to try to get up on him, because he has so much speed that if you stay off of him, he can get open, and I think that's what happened last time. But as you know, they're going to try to make the Packers pound it out, pound it out, pound it out. But I don't think they had that in mind when Clark ran away with that big touchdown.
2nd and 13. Good blitz down for the Buccaneers. Slot formation to the left side. Lofton is out. Jefferson in. Jesse Clark, how do you do? Meet the center of that Tampa Bay defensive front. Jeff Davis, Leroy Selman the first to get there. The Patriots upsetting the Jets by a touchdown. That's the final score. Indianapolis at home in the Hoosier Dome, beating poor Buffalo. Kansas City at home against Cleveland, so the Chiefs getting on track. And the Dolphins hung on against St. Louis. Minnesota falling to Seattle. Scores and highlights with Brent Musburger, the NFL Today at halftime. 3rd and 13 for Dickey. Incomplete at the 12-yard line, looking for Ellis out of the backfield. And what a hit put on by number 43, the Post Buster. Watch the Post Buster.
Yeah, and maybe you at home can hear the music in the background. They're playing Ghostbusters because they call Beasley Reese the Post Buster, and you can see why. And as a receiver, you always hate to have to go up in the air because it's so hard coming down. But Beasley Reese has got a whole new lease on life. He played many years with the New York Giants, and now he's down here enjoying the life out on Tampa Bay. He even has a boat.
Good friend of yours.
That's right. The old post bus. He used to bust me in the post a couple of times.
Out of the hole to Bucky Scribner. Spotted at the 31. A 41-yard field goal try. Hash mark near side for Eddie Garcia. And it is good. So the Packers capitalize on that fumble. Both of their scores, across the 23, a 26-yard return. However, there's a penalty flag down at the 5-yard line. Illegal use of hands against the Bucs, and this will back them up big.
You know, that Michael Morton as a kick returner, he's really, really exciting. In fact, Hugh Green said he's going to break one this week. But a lot of fans may not recognize him because his number used to be number 1. This is his 3rd year in the league. He was drafted as a specialist, a kickoff returner. And his number was 1 because the league rule says that for specialists, your number can be...
24, offense, illegal block, first down.
It says that your number can be 1 to 19, but as a running back, you have to be number 20 to 49. So that's why he has a new number. He used to be number 1, and now he's number 20. Michael Morton, who played at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. And he's not the only running back from there on the field today, Jim. Did you know that? You didn't know.
Go ahead. Number 24, the man the penalty was called on, Maurice Harvey out of Ball State. So it backs the Bucs up to the 5-yard line. Edger Armstrong in front of James Wilder, who hurls up near the 7-yard line in the grasp of George Cumby, number 52 for the Green Bay Packers.
Well, the answer to that trivia question was the backup fullback for the Tampa Bay Bucs is number 28, Michael Carver, and they were teammates at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, as well as in high school. You know, it's really tough. Here they got the ball about the 6-yard line, and they got to go all the way down the field, and it is so difficult to put together a long drive.
To the 15, that is Gerald Carter, and that is very close to first down yardage. In fact, I think he stretched across the 15 as Randy Scott was clinging to him, and that should be, as Chuck Heberling now indicates, a first down. Steve DeBerg still getting his timing down with the Tampa Bay receiver.
But that pass right there showed me a lot, though, Jim, because a lot of quarterbacks do not want to throw when they have their own backup against their own goalposts, because you can really be embarrassed, just like Gary Hogaboom was last time they played against the Packers last week. In the same situation, he had one run back.
Slot to the right, pitch back to Wilder coming toward you. And Wilder bangs it up to the 28-yard line, to the 23-yard line, and George Cumby was there again. George Cumby, number 52, the linebacker for the Green Bay Packers, said they've got to attack the line of scrimmage. They've got to stunt to the ball, take advantage of their quickness as the linebackers, and they have some different gaps this year. It's not a 3-gap system anymore.
But James Wilder is taking advantage of that very quickness, because what happens is he comes out and he starts moving to the left, and those linebackers are so quick that they start moving with him, and he's been able to cut back for good yardage.
2nd and 3. Carver and Wilder, the running back for Tampa Bay. No blocking, and Wilder, look out, does that all on his own. That's a first down for Tampa Bay. Tom Flynn was there. All right, let's get back and pick up on the gap difference now. Last year, when Bart Starr was the head coach, before Forrest Gregg came in and named Ken Riley as his defensive coordinator, the linebackers would be taking deep drops. They'd be maybe 4 or 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage. This year, they're playing up a little closer.
Yeah, well, they're playing up a little closer for a couple of reasons. One reason is they have a lot more confidence in their cornerbacks, and the other reason is because they have 2 rookies starting at defensive end, Carricker and Humphreys.
Morton and Armstrong. Morton number 20, Armstrong 46, as James Wilder gets a deserved rest. Motion by Armstrong. Michael Morton tries to turn the corner. Difference in weight between Wilder, who checks out at 225, and Morton, who weighs in at 180. And Donnie Humphrey and Randy Scott just hammered him down.
But you can get an idea of the kind of acceleration that number 20, Michael Morton, had on that last play. And the guys like blocking for him, the offensive lineman, because they say if you can just get a piece of your man, he can get by. But that time, somebody didn't get a piece of their man.
short pickup, maybe a yard, 2nd and 9. As Gerald Carter comes out wide left, Kevin House top of your screen. Gerald Carter, that's a first down at the 40 of Tampa Bay. Mike Douglas hanging on.
You got to give credit to Steve DeBerg as a passer, because again, it wasn't the best time pass. When the ball goes out, you're going to see that he has to go down on one knee to make the catch. So it wasn't like a great pass, but yet DeBerg still could execute it just well enough to get the first down. But again, I want to stress that he does not have his timing with his receivers yet.
James Wilder checks back into the lineup, number 32 for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So far, Wilder 11 carries, 76 yards, 1 pass reception for 10. This time he hurls up near the 42, brings up 2nd down. Let's call it a long 8. What's the tight end do here?
Okay, here's number 88, Jimmy Giles, and he's got a real tough man over him in Mike Douglas. You see Douglas trying to control him with his arms, and that makes it tough for a tight end, because you can't get your head or shoulder into him. But Jimmy, with great balance, overpowers Mike Douglas on that one. But that's just the first round. It's going to be a long day.
Wilder, Carver the backs. DeBerg.
It's a blitz.
Looks for Carver.
Tim Lewis again.
Intercepted at the 25-yard line. It's still a hot play. Out of bounds in front of the Packer bench. Lewis's 2nd interception of the football game. Went up and took it right away from Carver. Carver thought he had an easy reception coming.
Well, they had a blitz on that play, so they had single coverage, nobody in the middle playing defense, and for the 3rd time on a deep route, Steve DeBerg has underthrown his receiver. Here he's got him beat across the field, but he throws a little behind him. And Tim Lewis, I mean, what a play. That's his 4th interception in 5 games. Number 26 for the Packers.
So we've got 6 seconds left in quarter number 1, and a happy Green Bay Packer bench. A dramatic turnaround because it was a 7-0 Tampa Bay lead. The Bucs had just taken advantage of a Packer mistake. They had the football, and all of a sudden, 2 interceptions and a fumble later, the Packers have regained control of the game, and they've got a 10-7 advantage.
Well, McKay doesn't feel bad, though, because he made the right play. He just didn't execute.
I don't think he feels too good. Dickey to throw on first down. He wanted the tight end. Hugh Green had Kaufman all covered up. So he goes safety valve to Jesse Clark out of the backfield. Quite a battle going on between the tight end, Paul Kaufman, number 82, and 53, Hugh Green. That's the end of the first quarter. The Packers lead first snap, second quarter. Green Bay in possession of the football. They start from their own 43. As Lynn Dickey bends in with Jesse Clark and Gary Ellis in the backfield. Ellis blocking right side, hammers a hole up across the 45 near the 48-yard line, blocking by Hallstrom and by Sid Kitson, number 64. Greg Cook down with an injury. Jeff Davis, 58, in there on the hit defensively for the Bucs.
It seems like Dickey is using sort of pass action to set up his run. I mean, the successful runs so far have been off of sort of the draw type action. And it's a little softness there in the Tampa middle.
Jefferson to the near side. Lofton, top of the screen. Quick snap by Dickey. Fire. Looks for Kaufman, incomplete. Broken up by Hugh Green. We talked about that battle going on between Kaufman, 82, and Hugh Green, 53. Let's take a look at that battle, and you take it from the tight end standpoint.
Well, there's number 53, Hugh Green. He gets a good chuck where his job is to try to slow down number 82, Paul Kaufman, the tight end. Paul, as you can see, is not his normal self. His knee is bothering him a little. He's trying to get open in the middle, but Hugh Green, who thinks he can cover any tight end in the league, knocked down the play.
Leon Bright just obtained. As you look at Bucky Scribner and his average what he's done so far this afternoon, there's Leon Bright, just obtained from the New York Giants, back deep. Scribner bangs a beauty. Spiraling kick, goes for the near corner and misses, so it goes into the end zone. So the Bucs get a break, and they will start 1st and 10 from their own 20, trailing by 3 points with 14:09 left to go before halftime.
Well, it would help. It certainly would help.
Wilder hangs on to the football, cracks it across the 27 up near the 28, in the grasp of the rookie out of Pittsburgh, Tom Flynn.
You know, Jim, that's always amazed me because I've played a lot of games where the coach says, look, this is the one guy we have to stop. And obviously, Green Bay has to stop number 32, James Wilder. But they haven't seemed like they've learned how to do it yet. I mean, gee whiz, he's got 87 yards already, and this is the first half.
He's had 3 100-yard rushing games since he became a starting running back 9 games ago. 2nd down and 2. DeBerg, very ineffective in the passing department so far. 2 interceptions and 1 fumble. Wilder and Carver are the backs. And again, it is James Wilder. He gets the first down at the 31. You saw the block by Melvin Carver, who went down low. Next Sunday on CBS Sports, Richard Todd in Todd We Trust. That'll be our halftime feature on the NFL Today.
You won't see many matchups like there are today in terms of linebackers. There are so many good linebackers on this field today. You got Hugh Green, who was a #1 draft choice in the whole league one year. You got John Anderson, who's a great linebacker. You got Cumbie. You got Mike Douglas, who led the team in tackles last year. They're really active and aggressive.
That's to the tight end, Jerry Bell, and that's another Tampa Bay first down. George Cumbie, the first to get there. You see Flynn trying to strip him of the football. Tommy Flynn, the rookie out of Pittsburgh, said his biggest adjustment coming over from the college game to the pro game was the speed of the game at every position in pro football. He was amazed.
Yeah, he said everybody is bigger and faster. And a good example was last week in the Dallas game. Doug Cosby, the big tight end for Dallas, caught one up the middle, and Flynn came in there full speed and put a shot on him and bounced right off of him, and Cosby kept going downfield. He said that never would have happened to him in college.
From the 43 of the Bucs, 1st and 10. Motion across by Melvin Carver. Wilder, big hole, cuts it back against the grain, dives to the 49. John Anderson, first to get there for Green Bay, but let's check the flag with our official, Chuck Heberling. James Wilder, so far, early indication against the Bucs, 14 carries, 90 yards on the ground, 1 pass reception for 10 yards. That gives him 100 yards total offense. The 4th time he's reached that so far this year. He hasn't missed.
Illegal motion, number 89, offense, first down.
That's Kevin House, the wide receiver.
I think if you notice the types of passes that DeBerg is trying to complete, now he's had 3 opportunities to go deep, and each time he's underthrown. But on his control type passes, either to the running back or to the tight end, he seems like to be on the money. And those are the types of passes that he feels more comfortable with. And I think we'll see him throwing a lot more short passes today as opposed to the longer ones.
DeBerg looks at 1st and 15 now. Mark Whitty, number 85, Jimmy Giles, number 88, the 2 tight ends. And again, the Bucs just can't get the play off.
Well, I don't know.
That's 2 timeouts called 2 quarterbacks working out a secret code system where they signal the plays into one another and the coach doesn't even know.
That's right. McKay sends the plays in, but he doesn't want to use a signal system. So Jack Thompson and DeBerg have gotten together, and they're going to try to wig-wag to each other.
Dropped at the 30-yard line by James Wilder. You don't see that too often. DeBerg now 4 out of 8, 41 yards and 2 interceptions. He's got to throw the ball upfield, but when he's done that, the timing hasn't been there with his receivers.
Right. But I think he's a little unsettled. It's because the plays, you see McKay just sent the play in right there with number 28, Melvin Carver. He usually uses the fullbacks to send the play, so you'll see Armstrong and Carver coming in and out. And when I was in Dallas, Tom Landry used to use a tight end to do that. And you always were running out there full speed. You're getting late. You're rushing up to the line of scrimmage. You're trying to shift real fast. And it really confuses the team sometimes.
2nd and 15. Quickly, he finds Carter. Hurls to the 43. Mike Douglas, the linebacker, came up to seal him off, but that's a short gain. Crossing pattern by number 87 in his 5th year from Texas A&M.
At Tampa, they like to think that Kevin House is the great game breaker, and Gerald Carter is the technician. He's the guy that's going to do the nitty-gritty, go across the middle just like he did there, and run these great out patterns. That's number 87, Gerald Carter, who surprised a lot of people. He used to play the other side, but they flipped him over, and he's doing a lot better.
Harry Tuttle now comes in at wide receiver, number 81 for the Bucs. He is wide to the left, motioned by Kevin House, bottom of your screen. 3rd and 9. DeBerg unloads, wide open, and misfires Gerald Carter.
That had to be a busted coverage by Green Bay.
DeBerg back there at the 25, just slapping his helmet at himself, cannot believe it. He is now 4 out of 9 passing, and that had touchdown written all over it.
Well, that's what happens when a quarterback has underthrown a guy deep. There's Tommy Flynn, 41. He's reading inside, and the play's going outside, and oh boy, a rookie mistake. But he'll learn from that, and he'll get a lot better.
There is Carter, who is thinking 6 points, all alone at the 25 of Green Bay. So Phil Epps, number 85, drops back deep. Frank Garcia, second year out of Arizona, bangs a high kick. Fair catch at the 14. Now we've got a fight down at the 22-yard line. No penalty flags down. 10:57 to go before halftime. The Packers lead the Buccaneers. Hoffman and Gary Lewis, the 2 tight ends. Dickey pitches back. Sweeping right is Gary Ellis. Penalty flag is down. Ellis chopped down near the 18-yard line. John Cannon, third year out of William & Mary, the first to get there. What's it like for a guy like John Cannon playing alongside David Logan and Leroy Selman, a couple of Hall of Famers?
John Cannon says it's a tremendous challenge. You know, he's a smart kid. He went to William & Mary. He was a pre-med guy there. And playing beside Dave Logan, who's a Pro Bowler, and then, of course, Leroy Selman on the other side is certainly, at least in my mind, going to be a Hall of Famer one day. He thinks this is a great challenge to play sound football. He has a little added disadvantage because he's used to having Cecil Johnson, the fine defensive captain and outside linebacker,
first down,
who usually is out there to help him. And Johnson is just so good at recognition, and now he has a rookie, number 57, Keith Browner, who's in the game. But John McKay thinks very highly of him, despite the fact that he went to the University of Southern California. He thinks he's living up to all his expectations.
He's a lifeguard in the summer at the Jersey Shore. 1st and 17 after that penalty against the Packers. Fans exalting their defense to try to hold Green Bay, maybe force a turnover of their own. Dickey out of the pocket. Looks deep. Woo! Did not feel the heat. If Leroy comes the other way, he drives them halfway to the bay.
Many people will tell you that number 63, Leroy Selman, is the very best defensive end in the game of football. He has to come a long way this time as Dickey rolls away from him and still can't get away from him. And boy, he is really fortunate not to have a safety on that play. And the reason he did is because his forward progress took the ball out of the end zone, even though his feet were still over the line. That's Leroy there. And he is one of the hardest working men in the business. I was talking to some of the players after practice the other day, and he was the last guy out of the weight room.
Dickey and Randy Wright sacked 6 times last week. 2nd and 23. That is Jesse Clark. He's got a touchdown run, but right now he's running for his life. Byron Braggs, number 71, 4th year from Alabama, in there, as you can just feel the intensity of that Buccaneers defense picking up.
Well, that's true, Jim, and you can see that it's slowing down the Packers a little bit because it puts a lot of pressure when you feel that goalpost on your back. Even for the linemen, it's a lot of pressure. You know you can't let that man beat you across the line because anybody can make a big play when you only have 11 yards of the field to work with. And that's what the Packers are working with right now. You can see they have 10 yards in the end zone and 1 yard outside in the regular field.
Green Bay 0 for 3 on 3rd down conversions. The Bucs will be coming. Harlan Huckleby hammered down at the 2. Look at the intensity of the Bucs. Well, Cecil Johnson, who was injured, told us at practice the other day, he said, our defense is violent. He said, we like to make the people pay, and they certainly did that to defensive series.
He said, there's been a lot of games that we haven't won, but we've won every fight. I think he's right.
They won a few scrimmages, too, didn't
I
they?
used to hate playing down here. Man, these guys give you a headache. I mean, this is like a half a bottle of aspirin game.
That's just in the first half.
Right.
Full bottle, right? 4th and 22.
Now, the punter has a problem. He doesn't have as much room as he usually has to punt the ball, so it could be a block on.
Leon Bright is back deep. Low, wobbly kick. Great field position inside the 40. Look out. Bright bangs down to the 30. 1st and 10, Tampa Bay. They start from the Packers' 30-yard line, and they trail by 26 beginning the 0-8 start a year ago from the 30 of Green Bay. James Wilder, no surprise. gets some blocking right side, bangs down to the 24 and just keeps the knees churning. Finally, the rookie out of Pittsburgh, Tommy Flynn, and the veteran from Oklahoma, George Cumbie, got to him and chopped him out of bounds.
You know, another thing I like about James Wilder, there's Tommy Flynn going back to the huddle, and you know he and Mike Douglas are going to have their nose and everything. But another thing I like about Wilder is that he is so smooth. A lot of backs, before they make a cut, will slow up. Like a lot of times you see Walter Payton, he'll use a stiff leg so he can cut. But Wilder is just so smooth, it makes it tough to get a good angle, to get a good tackle on him.
2nd and 4, Bucks on a drive. House, top of the screen. Giles, wide right. James Wilder bowls down to the 20, and if he crossed the 20, it's a first down for Tampa Bay. Mark Lee, in his 5th year out of Washington, a 2nd-round draft pick back in 1980, the first Green Bay Packer to get there. You know, we talked about head coach John McKay going through that 0-26 beginning and the 0-8 start last year. He said, "Oh well, gentlemen, we'll be back, but maybe not in this century."
Well, he told me that he thought that maybe the Tampa was a little too successful too soon. Because a lot of franchises, you know, they get a good success going and they're able to carry it on. But Tampa Bay was good a couple years and then they slid.
3 tight ends for the Buccaneers, 3rd and inches. First down. You think anybody can stop Wilder one-on-one in a collision?
Well, that's a tough question to answer. But so far, he is so strong that, and he's so elusive. That's what makes it difficult for that to happen, because it's difficult for a defensive player to get a good hit on him, because if you think you got him, he's gone. And a lot of times he'll make contact before the defensive player ever has a chance to make the hit. He'll make the hit first.
How about what Cecil Johnson told us at practice this week, though? He said Wilder practices the same way that he plays.
Yeah, well, he still feels he's still trying to improve, although all along he felt he was underrated. But when he first came into the Buccaneer organization, he was a fullback. And Cecil said he used to be able to make most of the backs quit in practice, but not James. First down, I think. Yeah, it's a first down.
Around the NFL today, the Giants have taken an early lead against the Rams, led by quarterback Jack Kemp. Richard Todd, who will be the subject of that Phyllis George feature on the NFL Today next week, has led New Orleans out to a 14-0 lead. The Raiders have gone ahead of Denver at Mile High Stadium.
It's tough playing Monday night and coming back playing on Sunday. I used to hate that. And that's what the Raiders are doing today.
Wilder. You see how strong he is? The first to get there was Terry Jones, and Wilder just kept on going, and finally 2 more of the Packers. Cumbie had to go over, along with John Anderson, to help out. Oh my, San Diego. They say the toughest thing to do is come back after a Monday night loss to the Raiders. Well, look what Tampa Bay is doing to Detroit and the 49ers.
Well, yeah, Joe Montana's back.
Washington, early lead against the Eagles. You think that game could be a rout?
Well, that reminds me, when Lawrence Taylor said that Wilder is the toughest back he ever played against, he plays Riggins twice every year. That tells you something.
I like what Wilder said. Lawrence Taylor should know. 2nd and 13. Miss snap. DeBerg gets hammered. They had the blitz on. Mark Murphy coming from the safety blitz. And again, a little mistiming between Steve Wilson, the 9-year center out of Georgia, and DeBerg as he's backing away. Watch, he doesn't have control of the ball.
Yeah, it was a bad exchange that time, and one reason might be because of the pressure that Terry Jones is putting on Wilson. Jones broke through last time to make the first hit on Wilder, and as a center, I mean, I don't personally, I never played center, but I don't see how you can have one hand between your legs and then block somebody like Terry Jones.
3rd and 18. Last time DeBerg looked at this kind of yardage, he threw an interception. The 5th nickelback in there, Estes Hood, 38 for the Packers. Slot left, DeBerg backpedaling. Post, incomplete. He threw into double coverage that time, and that time it looked like the receiver, Kevin House, turned it inside. DeBerg threw the ball behind him.
Well, that's what I'm talking about DeBerg not knowing his receivers. Here he has his 2 flankers on the left side, and as they come down, he's trying to pick out House, but he can't quite get it there, and boy, it was close to an interception. That was Mark Lee in there to break it up. Kevin House is their big play man, number 89. and he wears gloves. And I said, gee whiz, it's hot down here, Kevin. Why are you wearing gloves? He said, I wore them last year. I got lucky, and I haven't taken them off since.
He goes right from the stadium over to the fairway over there.
Bowls a little bit.
Blair Keel will hold. Obed Ariri will try a 47-yard field goal to try to tie up this football game. He just made it over the crossbar. You cannot come much closer than that.
I think that was his limit. John McKay said when we get down to 30, I think we can kick a field goal. And now I can see why.
With Brennan Irv coming up at halftime, we got a long way to go in a good football game. Harlan Huckleby, Phil Epps are deep. As Obed Ariri slithers one to the 27. And down at about the 34 goes one of the ups back. That is Guy Prather. Hey, just another day at the office for Obed Ariri. Watch this.
Yeah, he just sort of skips up there and pops it.
Now watch Armstrong, 46. Okay, that's good.
He had nothing to it.
All right, now watch Obed.
Yeah, he's real relaxed, but he's worried. I can tell you. He's not sure.
Hey.
And then, hey, I knew it all along. But we know better because McKay says he doesn't kick much beyond the ball at the 30-yard line.
You know McKay's game plan. I love what John said. He said, well, we're going to pass a little, we're going to run a little, we're going to kick a little, and if we don't kick too much, we'll be all right. From the 33 of the Packers, 1st and 10. Lofton right, Jefferson left, coming right, Jesse Clark. Look out. That is a Green Bay first down all the way across their own 45 up near the 47-yard line. The second explosion by Clark. Leroy Selman hanging on.
Well, that's what I'm talking about and what I like to call the 34 defense. The reason I call it 34 is because there are 3 down defensive linemen and 4 linebackers. Now, both teams play this defense. And what offenses try to do, especially on a sweep, is to try to stretch the defense. That is run wide and then cut back. And both teams so far have been doing that successfully.
Jefferson left, Lofton right, 1st and 10 Packers, 10-10 tie. Dickey bends in. Jesse Clark. Forward progress up near the 47-yard line of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It'll bring up 2nd down and 7. Next Sunday on CBS Sports, some of you will see either the Saints against the Bears or the Vikings against these Buccaneers. So we advise you to check your local listings for the game in your area next Sunday here on CBS Sports.
Yeah, next Sunday you're going to find out a lot about the character of that Bear team because the toughest thing to do is to come back from a loss, you know, a big loss like they had today against the Cowboys.
The toughest thing to do might be to show up at practice and look at the films on Monday with Ditka hitting his fist against the wall of the locker room.
It's going to be excitement. I can guarantee you that.
Mike's not on low lead after a loss, is it? Gary Ellis, first down for the Pack at the 36 of the Bucs. Cedric Brown, number 34, 8-year veteran out of Kent State, a free agent, first to get there.
Well, number 53, Hugh Green, was also on that side. He came in and helped out on the tackle, and I don't think he was where he wanted to be because he was very upset when he got up. And usually you don't see that kind of yardage coming around that side because if Selman's on that side, 63, and then 53 is the linebacker, Hugh Green. And you usually don't see that kind of yardage there.
You know, Cedric Brown sang in the high school gospel choir with Archie Griffin.
Yeah, and Hugh Green cooks. So, you know, what can I tell you? These guys are versatile.
1st and 10 Packers. Dickey airs it out. Intercepted and then dropped at the 27-yard line. That was like a hot potato. Looking for number 33, Jesse Clark, out of the backfield. Jeremiah Castile had a chance to come up with the interception, but only after the linebacker cut in front of the receiver and deflected the ball.
Well, Lynn Dickey tried to force it in a little that time. He's trying to go to his favorite receiver, number 82, Paul Kaufman. But the Buccaneers are still worried about Kaufman because he's always had fairly decent games against the Buccaneers, and they want to make sure that he can't catch those little 10, 12-yard turn-ins and turnouts. So that's why that time they had 3 people around him.
Jeff Davis, the linebacker, number 58 for the Bucs, nicknamed Judge, the man that got to the ball to deflect it. 2nd and 10. Bucs faking blitz. Dickey over the middle. Lofton at the 15. Loose football, and it's hot. The Bucs have got it back. Jeremiah Castile. What a collision. Packers, of course, will contend that Lofton didn't have possession of the ball. Beasley Reese, the postbuster, the man that put the hit, and oh my, as you take a look, watch the hit on James Lofton.
Beasley said that we invite him to come into the middle because that's where we live. Here's number 80, Lofton, coming into the middle where Beasley lives, and the postbuster busted up another one. Another big play that's Jeremiah Castile, who's always around the ball, picking it up for the recovery. But Beasley said we want him to come across the middle. We love him to come in there because that's where we live. I know Coach McKay a little this week, and he's very interesting. Very, very interesting.
From the 17 at Tampa Bay, Wilder in the backfield. DeBerg has not had a good half. Unloads. He's got Melvin Carver. He's got a first down. John Anderson clinging to Carver out of the backfield.
You know, McKay was known as a great college coach when he was at the University of Southern California. And I asked him, I said, Coach, do you ever miss the college game? And he said, well, if I was a little younger, I would like to go back to the college game because I like to see a kid come in and then a finished product 4 years later. But what do I do with a guy like Leroy Selman? He said. I said, what do you mean? He says, well, Leroy's been here 8 years. I don't want to talk him into oblivion.
Just across the 28. First and 10 for the Bucs. Wilder hurls and explodes inside. Up near the 33, and Randy Scott's had a busy afternoon. That is the 8th solo tackle. Watch Cumbie, number 52, come over. We talked about the different gaps. Here he comes through one of them.
Right, there he is, number 52. He slips the block of Azure Armstrong. The fullback was supposed to make the block on that play, but he missed him. But you can't make every block.
You think James Wilder, number 32, has not had a good first half? How about 19 carries and 100 yards?
That's a season for some people.
For you.
You got that right.
2nd and 6. Wide open. What a move at the 40. The defensive back didn't bite. Gerald Carter tried to put one on Timmy Lewis. I guess that's why he was a first-round draft pick. He stayed at home.
That's right. That Tim Lewis, well, he's already got 2 interceptions that day. I know some quarterbacks that would never throw for the rest of the game once he had an interception. Like Craig Morton, if he had an interception on one side, he would never go back to that side. But DeBerg, he has confidence in that short passing game, and he thinks that he can hit those little short ones and keep the team moving. So that's what he's trying to do here. And he's got about 2 minutes and a half to go for his drive, so he has enough time for short passes.
Motion by Armstrong coming toward you. Pitch back to Wilder. He's got a convoy. Chopped down at the 44. And a good block by the tight end, number 88, Jimmy Giles. He just strung out number 41 coming out to the right side, the rookie out of Pittsburgh, Tommy Flynn.
That's the toughest block in the business for a tight end. Number 88, Jimmy Giles, one of the best in the business. Been to the Pro Bowl in the first half today.
Also, they've used 2 of their 3 timeouts. 2nd and 4. Motion by Carter. Over the middle. Wide open. That's Kevin House. Carter. Inside the 39. Excuse me. Tom Flynn on the tackle. And the Bucs try to hurry it up. 1:46 and counting. Now, they've only got 1 timeout, and they're using a lot of time now.
Well, maybe they're thinking field goal. But I tell you, I don't think he wants to throw long because he's already overthrown 1 possible.
The plays are not wig-wagged in. They are messaged in. John McKay calls all the plays himself. We'll tell you about that. As right now, it's 1st and 10 from the 39. DeBerg backpedals. Looks sideline. He's got House, and House will get out of bounds and stop the clock near the 30-yard line. John McKay calls all the plays over on the sideline in conjunction with Boyd Dowler. If it's a running play, McKay will actually call the formation and the specific play. If he wants a pass, he'll tell Boyd Dowler, I want a medium-range pass, I want a long pass, I want a sideline pass, and then it's Boyd Dowler who sends in the nomenclature.
Right, well, that time McKay just sent number 28, Melvin Carver, in with the play. And that means that the Buccaneers are not in their true 2-minute drill, because if they were, they'd be going without a huddle. So I guess McKay feels like he has some good plays that he doesn't have to hurry to get down the field.
Slot to the left side. Carter and Kevin House. Here comes James Wilder. He'll rush to get out of bounds and does at the 25, but a penalty flag. If it's against the Bucs, it is probably a holding call. Let's check with Chuck Heberling, our referee. John Anderson was the linebacker, and that's a costly penalty.
You know, when we first came out earlier today, it was overcast here in Tampa, and since then the sun has come out, and the visiting team sits right in the sun. And we'll have to take a look at that in the second half and see if it slows down the Packers, because it's a lot cooler in Green Bay than it is here in Tampa Bay.
Holding. Offense, number 88. 2nd down.
Uh-oh, holding on the tight end. You never used to do that.
Well, I never used to get caught. I used to hold almost every play. I mean, that's the only way you could block these big linebackers. I mean, gee whiz, they can use their hands. I can't. They're standing up. I'm in a 3-point stance. I got to do what I can.
Who was the toughest linebacker you ever had to block?
I guess Dave Robinson, because he was just so big. I'll tell you more about that later.
2nd and 7, Bucks from the 37 of Green Bay. We're knotted up 10 apiece. Green Bay may have jumped offside. Incomplete at the 25. And again, a timing problem. There were 2 receivers, thus 2 defenders carried into the same area. Now we'll check again with Chuck Heberlin.
Well, what we saw at that time was the inexperience of the young tight end for Tampa Bay, number 82, Jerry Bell. Jerry out of Arizona State should have run a deeper corner, but he cut it off a little too short, and his flanker is now talking to him about it.
2nd down.
Jerry Bell, number 82 out of Arizona State, works in the computer field in the offside season.
Right. Well, if he doesn't get this, DeBerg's telling him right now, you better get this straight, because I've already got 2 interceptions, buddy. And if you're going to be doing that, I'm not going to be throwing the ball in that direction.
This is not a real crisp drive.
And believe it or not, the ball's on the 32.
Where it is 2nd and 2. James Wilder. Cannonballs inside the 30 of the Packers down to the 29, and that should be a first down for Tampa Bay. How about James Wilder? Over 106 yards rushing already in the first half. That's a new Buccaneer record.
Okay, this is how a cornerback sees it from ground level. And you can see that they try to read their keys and come up and fill. But, boy, look at him come. Would you want to run up in there like that, Jim? That's why I could never play defense. I mean, gee whiz. I mean, this guy's coming at you full speed, and you're just standing there.
Landry and Allen sometimes thought you couldn't play offense.
I don't think that's true. Did he tell you that?
What'd you learn specifically from George Allen?
Well, from George Allen, I learned how much it means to play as a team and to really understand that you're in it together. Where in Dallas, they have a tendency to put one player against another, and sometimes that hurts team unity. And that was the biggest difference from being a Cowboy and a Redskin.
DeBerg said that Tom Landry coaches the coaches, and then the coaches in Dallas will coach the players. It's 1st and 10 for the Buccaneers from the 29 of Green Bay. DeBerg unloads wide open. Jimmy Giles out of bounds at the 3.
Yeah, Jimmy's upset he couldn't get in the end zone that time. But he says that here he is, number 88, coming off the ball. The linebacker's trying to hold him up, Cliff Lewis, but he gets away from Cliff, gives him an inside move, and Cliff doesn't even know where he is. Jimmy makes a great catch, and Steve says, this is the first time I've ever had a tight end of this quality. And, of course, he never played with me.
They say that Giles stepped out of bounds at the 6 as he did that little stutter step down the sideline. There is John McKay. And number 16 you saw on the right side of the picture there was Blair Keel, the rookie out of Notre Dame. Coach McKay is very high on him as a backup quarterback for the Bucs. He said he's going to be a good one one day.
Right, and he didn't go to about the 10th round on the draft. And everybody's really surprised at how good he's been.
3 tight ends, Giles, Bell, and Whitty. A bootleg by DeBerg. He can walk it in. Touchdown. The Packers bit on the fake, and watch as this play unfolds, the blocking of Sean Farrell. He'll be number 62 in the picture. Sean Farrell, Ron Heller blocking over on that right side.
That's that Penn State connection, Jim. And, you know, Sean Farrell says the first time that he had somebody on his side that he could have confidence in. They're a fake to James Wilder, and there's Farrell leading the way, number 62, and DeBerg sees the flag, and he goes for it. But I tell you, that play was set up by James Wilder because that fake into the line had to freeze that defense to give Steve DeBerg time to roll around outside, and they got out clean that time. Blair Keel is holding.
Obed Ariri, who has a 46-yard field goal that just inched its way over the crossbar to tie up the football game, has now given the Bucs a 7-point lead. Tampa Bay scored first on a James Wilder 32-yard run. They score last, and touchdown so far is Obed Ariri about to boom it away from the 35. Phil Epps, number 85, is back deep for Green Bay, along with Harlan Huckabee, number 25. Short kick. Huckabee at the 13. It's Epps, excuse me. He is hammered down at the 22. There is the scoring drive. Now keep in mind, Tampa Bay so far this year, Gene, they have had a total of 9 touchdown drives longer than 69 yards.
And that's one of the toughest things to do in football, they used to keep statistics on that, both at Dallas and in Washington, where I played. And the statistics would always show that the more times the team got the ball inside the 50, the higher the chances of scoring. But the longer you have to go, the harder it is to do it.
1st and 10 for the Packers. They had scoring drives of about 10 to 15 seconds sometimes when they were clicking on offense. Dickey will try to find Lofton and John Jefferson. They've got it set up the fullback screen to Jesse Clark, and he's got blockers. 1st down for the Pack at the 37-yard line of Green Bay. Leroy Selman with pursuit, and Lynn Dickey takes a timeout. He'll go over and confer with Forrest Gregg. And the injured Packer down is Jesse Clark, number 33 of the Packers.
Here's Dickey, and the Packers like to run a lot of screens. And what a screen play is the quarterback goes back like it's going to be a pass downfield, and then the linemen sort of sneak out to the side with a running back. Leroy Selman with great pressure. He barely gets the ball out.
Now watch, because it's Selman that comes and finally makes the tackle. You talk about great pursuit.
You got Selman coming from the behind, and you got Hugh Green right in front, who jacks up the guy here. And look at Hugh Green. He almost gets him, but just misses him.
And here comes Leroy Selman. He was back there in the backfield picking Lynn Dickey's
Now wait a minute
pocket.
now. He's a defensive end. He's supposed to make sacks. He's supposed to make tackles at the line of scrimmage, but not 10, 15 yards downfield.
Well, he's 10 or 15. That was about a 35-yard play for Selman. He's in the backfield. Dickey is 3 out of 8, 63 yards and 1 interception.
Well, that's why it's more evidence of why he's one of the best. Hugh Green thinks he's fantastic. As far as
Forrest Gregg, he says football is a game of aggression. He said, I'm no easy rider.
The first thing he said he wanted to do when he got in there was to upgrade the offense and the defensive line. So now he's got 2 young defensive end rookies starting. And on offense, he had to take 2 tackles and put them in at guard. I guess everybody's heard about the Hogs and how big they are. But now the Packers have a line, at least in size, to match them.
Line of scrimmage, the 37-yard line of Green Bay. It's 1st and 10, just 15 seconds left. Packers have 2 timeouts left. You would expect they would go deep to Lofton or Jefferson. They line up wide right, along with number 85.
They're going to run a special play here, Jim. They got 3 wide receivers out on the side, and I think he's just going to throw it deep.
It is the home run ball. Fires over the middle. Got his man into Buccaneers territory. John Jefferson's first reception of the game. 1st down for the Packers, and Lynn Dickey quickly takes a timeout. They've got 1 left.
You know, that's a trick play. In fact, I think I was in Dallas in about 1973 when Tom Landry put that play in. And when we first saw it, we had 3 wide receivers, and what we do is we run all the way down the field, throw it as far as you can, and hopefully one of your men would tip it to you. But if that didn't work, we also had a trick play off of it where all 3 guys would go down, and then just like that, Jefferson, who was one of the 3 on that play, sneaks across the middle away from the coverage. They hope that he can catch it in stride and break a big one.
There is Forrest Gregg.
Well, he's got 7 seconds left, and now they're talking, you know, what are they going to run? Are they going to try to pass it again? And if they do, they have to be able to get out of bounds or stop the clock to set up a field goal.
How about what he said at the Packer practice the other day? He said, winners are tough people, tough-minded people, and that's what the Packers lack right now. That was quite an indictment.
Well, it sounds like a head coach talking to me. I mean, you know, a head coach has to tell his players, look, you got to be tough. You got to get ready to go. Although John McKay uses a sort of a different technique. He doesn't talk about toughness so much. He just talks about being physical and aggressive. But he doesn't really stress mental toughness. But Forrest Gregg is a believer in mental toughness, and I can guess where he got that from, a guy named Vince Lombardi. So with 7 seconds left, this is kind of tough. They're on the 42, and they have to get out of bounds before the clock goes off to have a chance for the field goal. There's that trick formation again.
To the left side this time with Lofton, Epps, and John Jefferson. Dickey backpedals, fires, gets Jefferson. He is hammered down at the 34, and quickly J.J. calls timeout. That's the Packers' last timeout with just 2 ticks left on the clock. So the field goal team trots on out. Of course, the Packers traded away Jan Stenerud. He's now playing for the Minnesota Vikings. A somewhat controversial decision, as it has turned out.
Yeah, I think Forrest Gregg has had some second thoughts on that.
So Eddie Garcia, second year out of SMU, had a 55-yard field goal in the Senior Bowl. Will try from the hash mark near sideline out of the hold of the punter, Bucky Scribner. So the spot should be at about the 42, tack on the 10 of the end zone as you look at it from the end zone. And this will be a 52-yard try for Eddie Garcia.
Well, this kick is going to be very important to the type of momentum that Green Bay comes out with in the second half. because they had just fallen behind by 7 points, but now they have an opportunity to get back within 4, and it was quite a 2-minute drive.
How about a fake field goal with Scribner, the punter, pulling it up and throwing a pass? You've got Kaufman, the tight end, in there at one blocker. Do you try the 52 or you try the fake?
Kick it.
Low snap. He did. Plenty of distance. It is good. A 52-yard field goal. And look at the Packers come out. Bill Morton, number 20. Leon Bright, number 29, back deep for the Buccaneers. And Eddie Garcia, who kicked a 52-yard field goal for the Packers just before the end of the first half, will boom it from the 35 of Green Bay.
Like I said earlier, Hugh Green thinks that Michael Morton is the best kick returner in the league, but it may be because they're very good friends. But Morton is fast. He's taking a look at the ball.
They split after the ball's in the air, so they can't cue the defense. Michael Morton. Look out. This drive starts across the 35 and the 37. Eddie Garcia, the kicker, the last man to hot of a shot, along with Ron Cassidy out of Utah State.
Well, these kickers have been busy today. Now both kickers have made a tackle.
Keep in mind that coming into this game, the Bucs had it 1st and 10 47 times and only once outside their own 35. They start 1st and 10 from their own 37. That is Eddie Garcia, the place kicker, and that could be a very costly injury for Forrest Gregg in Green Bay.
That's the last thing that a head coach wants, is one of his specialists, his punter or his kicker, to go down, because it's really tough when your scoring weapon is injured trying to make a tackle when you had 10 other guys who are supposed to do it. Here he is again, number 11, and you see he gets his leg sort of caught under him as Morton and the rest of the pile comes down on him, and his leg got turned, his shoulder got turned. And we saw him last week, and he didn't even go out to team with the rest of the practice. There he's holding number 11. Eddie Garcia is holding his right shoulder kind of limp. And I wonder how much he needs that to kick. Because sometimes, kickers, it throws your whole momentum off if you hurt anything on your body. Kickers are different. They're different from the rest of the football players. That's why they keep them away from the rest of the team.
Kevin House wide to the left side. James Wilder, number 32, the tailback. He's got the football. And the Packers have him. George Cumby came slanting through and chopped him down a yard behind the line of scrimmage. 2nd and 11.
Well, that might have been an adjustment that the Packers made at halftime. They were trying to play more of a contained type run defense against Wilder, but Wilder was cutting back for good yardage. So maybe this half they'll try to stunt. That is, they'll try to jump across the line and interrupt the play before it can really develop. And that's what happened on that play.
Kevin House wide to the left side. Gerald Carter, top of your screen. Packers in bump and run. DeBurr needs 11. Unload. He's got Carter. Carter wrestled out of bounds right in front of the Buccaneers bench all the way up to the 46-yard line of Tampa Bay. And that number 1 draft pick again, Timmy Lewis, shows why he was a number 1.
That's right. Tim Lewis has had a great game. He's had 2 interceptions. That's number 87, Gerald Carter. He's the guy they like to send over the middle, and he's been having a good success with that today. He's had 6 catches, and I think most of them were over the middle. He was open for a touchdown earlier, and DeBurg overthrew him. I'm sure DeBurg is going to try to make some adjustments because the Bucs think they can go deep, but DeBurg has to be able to complete it, and he has trouble getting to know his receivers.
3 tight ends, Giles, Bell, and Whitty. Edger Armstrong, the fullback, but it's the tailback, James Wilder. Gang tackled by the Pack. George Cumby, the first to get there again. Cumby, an interesting story, inside linebacker on the right side. He was a safety in college.
There he is, George Cumby, number 52. He's an inside linebacker. He reads the play, and he comes up and meets it at the hole. Wilder's going to bounce outside. He knows it, and he gets a hold of him. And now that's why it's 4th down, Jim. They didn't make it.
4th and less than a yard. The fans wanted McKay to go for it. Of course, the fans never get fired.
I don't think McKay has to worry about that. He's been here since
lifetime
day one of the franchise.
In fact, he offered to quit last year, and Mr. Culverhouse refused the resignation. Phil Epps, 85, back deep, anticipating the punt of Frank Garcia. Jumped offside. Kick is partially blocked. It slithers inside the 30, picked up at the 20 by Phil Epps. Out of bounds at the 28-yard line. But there's a flag all the way back at the 45-yard line of Tampa Bay. And if it's against Green Bay, it'll give the Bucs a 1st down.
Well, the preliminary signal has it against Tampa Bay. Now Green Bay has to make a decision whether they'll accept it or not.
Illegal motion. Left guard. Offense. Decline. First down.
But that was a quick decision.
Green Bay comes out of it in good field position. We've got 13:35 left to go in this third quarter. 1st and 10 for the Packers. They start up at the 28 of Green Bay. So it's Lynn Dickey, the 13-year veteran out of Kansas State, playing with that flak jacket. Some question whether he'd be around at the end of the game if the Bucs defense was able to get to him.
Yeah, the Packers had 2 different game plans, one for Dickey and one for Randy Wright, the backup number 2 quarterback, the rookie out of Wisconsin, if he had to come into the game.
Ray Krause now, number 21, New York running back, along with number 31, Ellis. Ellis, swing pass out of the backfield, bangs his way up to the 40, and that's a first down for the Packers. Jeremiah Castile, who has a fumble recovery, the man that bumped him out of bounds. Now, Ray Krause, number 21, knows number 28, Melvin Carver of the Bucs, very well. Gene Fugate's already said they played together in the same high school team, the same junior college team, and then college together. Carver was a high school quarterback, and Krause was a high school fullback. Then they split duty at fullback at junior college and also at Nevada, Las Vegas.
Yeah, Krause used to play in the Canadian League, and Forrest Gregg thinks he can make things happen when he gets the ball.
1st and 10 for Green Bay. They trail by 4. Ellis, Krause. Krause comes to the right side, blocking there by Hallstrom, number 65, and by the center, Larry McCarron, 12 years out of Illinois, number 54. And he is playing in his 125th consecutive game for the Packers today. It goes all the way back to December the 7th, 1975, when he started that streak against the Minnesota Vikings. I'll tell you how long ago that was. That was when the Vikings still played at Metropolitan Stadium.
Well, that was a while ago.
I'll tell you what, there are only 2 Packers that have played longer in consecutive games, Forrest Gregg, the coach, and Willie Davis. Larry McCarron, the veteran center, 2nd and 7. Hits one of the Bucs, and it is caught and deflected to Jeremiah Castile. It hit the back of Cecil Johnson, number 56. He didn't even know where the ball was.
Now, Cecil Johnson, Jim, wasn't even supposed to play today. He has a bad back, a bad shoulder. There he is out covering Lofton, and he's supposed to turn and look as soon as the receiver turns, and that's what you call getting your head on the ball. And Jeremiah Castile, I told you he was always around the ball.
Castile with a fumble recovery, now a deflected interception. Bucs ball. Well, this time the Bucs start 1st and 10 from their own 35 after that deflected interception by Jeremiah Castile. Sprint out pocket by DeBerg, who is not the most mobile. Pump fake, penalty flag is down, and DeBerg scrambles for his life. Let's check in around the NFL today. Here with an update from New York is Brent Musburger. Brent, of course, the Lions locked in a 1-3 deadlock with Green Bay and Tampa Bay in that NFC Central. The Bears have fallen to 3-2. So the Lions in the thick of things, along with the Packers and the Bucs.
Boy, and that Billy Sims, I can feel for him, because with the kind of year Peyton's having and Wilder's having, people have forgotten all about how great Billy Sims is as a running back. This NFC Central is chock full of running backs.
Penalty against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Holding backs them all the way up to their own 25. So it's 1st and 20. House wide left. Carter, top of your screen, as DeBerg bends in. Motion across by Carter. DeBerg airs it out. Blitz is on, releases, and it is caught at the 30 for a pickup of 5 by Jimmy Giles. Now the other official comes from way off the play and says, no, Giles did not have possession. That makes him a long walk back to the huddle for a few tight ends.
Yeah, let's take a look at it, because I couldn't get a good view from here. He threw it off of his back foot. And there, boy.
Did he have the ball?
Looked like a catch to me.
Well, that man, Forrest Gregg, thought it was a great call. Incomplete.
I bet.
Brings up 2nd down and 20. DeBerg, 18 passes attempted, 11 completions, 2 interceptions. But he's run for 1 touchdown, and that's the difference in the game so far. Incomplete at the 45, and there wasn't a orange jersey around. Carter, he kept going on a fly pattern, Gene, down the left side.
Well, there was clearly some confusion. Somebody broke a pass pattern and didn't run the proper route, or DeBerg thought he had a different play on. That's kind of tough to tell. But DeBerg's getting a little frustrated now, and it's just early in the third quarter, and it's really too soon for him to start getting down, but it looks like he's starting to get a little down. You know, this series has been, full of mistakes. He had a rollout, nobody was open, then he had a hold, then he had to go back, then he throws the ball, nobody's there. So it's been kind of a tough third quarter for Tampa Bay.
3rd and 20. Packers blitz. Penalty flag is down. Almost intercepted at the 43. That is Estes Hood, 7th year out of Illinois State. He's the nickel back. But again, let's check with Chuck Heberling. Motion against the Bucs. I'm sure the Packers will decline it. They want the football. They trail by 4. Steve DeBerg.
Illegal motion, offense, number 81. The penalty will be declined. 4th down.
Steve DeBerg has had an interesting story. He's played for Boyd Dowler, who used to be a wide receivers coach. He's played for Danny Reeves, who used to coach running backs, and Sam Weish, former coach of DeBerg's, a quarterback coach. That's a pretty well-rounded education, isn't it?
I would say so. In fact, he thinks that the Tampa Bay system is the simplest system that he's played under. He thought the Dallas system was very confusing. He thought that the terminology was backwards because Landry's a defensive coach and he has everything turned around.
Frank Garcia partially blocked. The Packers will come out of this in great shape. Loose football at the 35. Battle for it down at the 33, and Green Bay's got it. It looks like Saturday Night Wrestling down there.
Well, there you see him pack the punt, and he comes up to punt, and it was just so much pressure. I don't know if that was a pass, whether that was self-defense, like I don't have the ball, leave me alone. I don't know what happened. But what happened to Tampa Bay is that they came out in the second half, they didn't get a good drive going, and it just shifted. The special teams came out there, they couldn't follow through with just a simple punt play. Now they're in the hole.
That was a fake punt. They were trying to get the ball on a design play to Mark Whitty, number 85, and it was almost a jump ball and basketball as he tried to hurl it over. So the Packers get a break on a mistake on specialty teams. That is Ray Krause out of Nevada, Las Vegas. Right side, sealed off rather quickly. Nothing doing as the Bucs defense, led by number 53, perhaps the most decorated college linebacker ever, Hugh Green, came up to make the hit.
Yeah, Hugh Green feels that it's not fair for people to make comparisons between him and Lawrence Taylor. He says Lawrence Taylor is just a different type of linebacker, and that's true. See, Hugh is a big play type of guy. He'll make an interception, he'll cause a fumble, but he won't run over tackles like Lawrence Taylor.
Hugh Green said, if you want to check and find out who covers the tight end the best, you ask the tight end. Me. 2nd and 9 from the 24. Dickey, little bootleg. Black jacket and all.
Now that's a gutsy play, Jim. Here's a guy with a broken back. He didn't have to run that ball. He could have stayed there, waited for somebody to get open, but he wants to win so bad. And that's why that Lynn Dickey, number 12, reminds me so much of Billy Kilmer, another gutsy quarterback.
He will be, Lynn Dickey will, 35 years young in just 3 weeks. Take another look.
Here he is. He fakes this is like a naked bootleg, and by naked, nobody's in front of him. And it completely fakes out the defense, and there he goes. But he did not have to take that play.
You don't think Scott Brantley started salivating a little bit, do you? He started licking his chops when he sees that quarterback?
I tell you, I'm impressed with Dickey. He's gutsy. He reminds me of Kilmer. My first year with the Redskins, Kilmer got really clobbered on a play. I went over to help him up, and he says, get away from me. And I said, well, why? He says, look, if I need help getting up, how hard do you think they're going to come next time?
2nd and 4. Nothing doing. Gary Ellis sealed off behind the line of scrimmage. Cecil Johnson, 8 years out of Pittsburgh. First to get there for Tampa Bay. Free agent signed on by the Bucs and very important in their linebacking corps. Of course, overshadowed somewhat because of the great play of Hugh Green.
You know, Jim, there's quite a battle going on at the middle of that line. Center, number 54 for the Packers, Larry McCarron, is going against number 76, a nose tackle, Dave Logan. And they've been doing it for a number of years, and they have a lot of respect for each other after the game.
Lofton right, Jefferson left, Epps in the slot. Dickey bends in, looks at 3rd and 7 from the Bucs 22. Tampa with a blitz. Dickey out of the pocket, and down he goes at the 34. Penalty flags all over the field.
And that was a big play by the rookie, number 57, Keith Browner. And the thing that John McKay likes so much about Browner is how tall he is. See how tall he is there? He just towers over Harlan Huckleberry. 57, boy, when linebackers, when they start getting 6'6", it's time for 6'3" tight ends to retire.
John McKay told us at the Bucs practice the other day on Keith Browner. He said he has so much ability, sometimes it looks like he's loafing out there. They don't think that he is, but it just looks like it because he's so good. He is also a brown belt in karate.
Yeah, he's very, very effortless. He has good speed, and McKay also thinks it's going to make it difficult for quarterbacks to throw on that side because of his height. It's very tough to sort of dunk that little in or a little curl over a guy that's so tall at 6'5".
That sack by Keith Browner is his first career sack, by the way.
Yeah, he's been chafing at the bit, but how do you move a guy like Cecil Johnson, defensive captain, out of the lineup?
Number 67, offense, is holding. It'll be declined. Number 65, offense, illegal use of the hands, will be declined. It's 4th down.
It's like the old joke, I will receive, I will receive.
They got half the line on that one. Gee whiz.
4th and 17 now, so we will see Eddie Garcia out of the hold of Bucky Scribner. Now, Garcia already has a 52-yard field goal to his credit. This will be from the 39-yard line, hash mark near side. So certainly well within Garcia range, and if good, the Packers will be down by just one. Missed it wide right. Hit the upright to the right side, so the Bucs dodged a bullet.
Way to call it, Jim. I wasn't that sure, but it was.
Rough afternoon, 11 of 19, 2 interceptions, but 1 touchdown run of 6 yards, and that's the difference in the ball game so far. Motion by Edger Armstrong as James Wilder hammers inside over the left. Blocking by Gene Sanders and Steve Corson. Randy Scott, along with Tom Flynn, made the hit. 2 good games next week, the Saints and the Bears. Chicago, of course, already losing to Dallas, Gene Pugett's old team. Minnesota will be here at Tampa Bay.
I tell you, if I was Richard Todd, I would not be too excited about playing against some hungry Bears. And they're going to be hungry after losing to Dallas.
To be angry, too. Monsters of the Midway are that this year. Richard Todd, of course, the subject of Phyllis George's feature next week. And Todd We Trust on the NFL Today. 2nd and 3. James Wilder, the subject of a lot of attention. He will draw a crowd. He had 112 yards rushing in the first half. And Terry Jones, number 63, 7th year out of Alabama, the nose tackle. And that 3-4 the Packers got there first.
Well, the Packers are digging in because they know if they missed that field goal, they got to hold Tampa Bay.
How about the pressure of a veteran like that, Terry Jones, playing with 2 rookies on defensive end?
Well, I tell you, nose tackle is isolated. When I say nose tackle, that's the defensive player who lines up right in front of the center. And he's right on the center's nose, and that's why they call him a nose tackle. 3rd and 3. DeBerg's got Wilder out of the backfield, goes to him, and that will be a Bucs first down at the 44 of Tampa Bay. John Anderson there, but he got there late. I mean, when you see a guy performing like this, it evokes all kinds of cliches, like he's doing everything but selling popcorn. But it's the truth. I mean, he's running the ball, he's catching the ball. Another first down, Tampa Bay, thanks to number 32, James Wilder.
Talked to Wilder at practice the other day, asked him who his idol was, or maybe who he reminds himself of. He came up with 2 interesting selections, Larry Zonka and Gale Sayers.
That tells you a lot about him.
1st and 10. Wilder again. Bangs his way down to the 48-yard line, approaching midfield. Clock approaching the 8-minute mark, 3rd quarter. And Tampa Bay with a 4-point lead. Here's your nose tackle.
Got some action going. This is Terry Jones coming off against Steve Wilson. And you can see Wilson's got some help. But Jones with that great strength. Look at his arms. See how they're pushing off? But they can also, offensive men can use their hands this year. And there's Steve getting a final push. But Jones, with great effort, making a great play.
Terry Jones coming off an Achilles problem last year, only played 1 series, all of 1983 for the Packers.
That's why he got hurt in the first play of the first game.
Wilder, first down to Green Bay territory at the 45 in the grasp of Mark Lee. Now we've got another fight back at midfield and flag day again. Jimmy Giles in the middle of it. What was the worst fight you were ever in?
Well, I guess I wasn't in many fights because I always tried to keep everybody cool on the field, especially the people in front of me. I didn't want them to get too excited. But I was telling you earlier that Dicker was trying to get me more excited, more aggressive. And I was competing with Billy Joe Dupree for the job, so I wanted to show the Cowboys how aggressive I was. And I got into a fight, and I thought they'd really be proud of me until they said they were a little upset because they were only left with one tight end when I got thrown out of the game.
Unnecessary roughness. Number 53 on his defense. First down.
That is Mike Douglas. You don't see that very often. Usually it's an offsetting penalty.
Well, I didn't see what happened, but Mike, number 53, Mad Dog, clearly disagrees with what happened.
Let's watch Mike, number 53, on this play. See if he takes it out on whoever lines up against him. Wide to the left side comes Kevin House. Up to the top is a flanker, number 28, Carver. First and 10. Bucks, they lead by 4. There goes number 32, James Wilder. Loose football. Penalty flag. Got a little of everything.
Yeah, and the Packers think they have it.
Maybe they fell on the flag.
Boy, that pile-up is something. I used to always hate to have to dive in there and try to get the ball on these pile-ups because everybody's in there biting and scratching trying to get the ball.
Watch number 52, George Cumby, on the replay. Right side. Ball is loose.
But see, it's
right here, there's the hit by Cumby.
And that's when a running back is most vulnerable, Jim, is when he's cutting back. And that time he cut back right into Cumby, and he paid for it with a fumble.
2 interceptions lost by the Bucks. Green Bay starts first and 10 from their own 31. Kaufman, the tight end. Jefferson and Lofton are the wide receivers. The lone running back is 31, Ellis. Motion across by Epps. Pitch back, Ellis. Jeremiah Castile, the first to get there. Ellis kept going up to the 35, and again, it's flag day. Penalty against the Packers. Forrest Gregg said about his offensive line, he said they're not big enough and they're not strong enough.
Yeah, I was talking to the conditioning coach before the game, and he said that they have a long way to go in their strength program. This is his first year with the Packers, and he says that they have to work a lot more in that weight room.
Holding. Offense, number 81, 10 yards, first down.
That's Gary Lewis, one of the tight ends, 4th year out of Texas at Arlington. So it backs up the Green Bay Packers and brings up first and 20 now. 7 penalties, 57 yards assessed against that man's team, Forrest Gregg.
Jim, I think you're going to see the intensity start to pick up now. We're starting to see a lot of hard hits in that secondary with that ball busting loose.
Lofton left, Phillips in the slot. Running back is Harlan Huckleby. Motion by Epps near side. Backpedaling. Dickey with a flak jacket. Epps has it at the 30. Outruns a couple of the Bucks. First down for the Packers and more. He needed 20 yards, and I believe he got it all. Cedric Brown finally banged him out of bounds, but not before Epps with some nifty broken field running. Turned it upfield. He's got 10-1 speed.
Well, that's why they like to give the ball to Phillip Epps. If they can give him the ball while he's in full stride, he is very dangerous. Here he runs away from Scott Brantley, turns the corner, and you can see him accelerate, trying to pick up a block from Lofton.
10-1 speed for the 100 meters. Ran track at TCU. First and 10 for the Pack. They trail by just 4.
I guess Bob Hayes showed people that track athletes can be football players.
Ellis chopped down at the 45. 2nd and 9. You're looking at Lynn Dickey, 13-year veteran out of Kansas State. We mentioned to be 35 years old in just 3 weeks. Practices all week long with no pads. On Wednesday of this week, the coaching staff went to him and asked him if he thought a week off would help. No play, no practice, nothing. Just sit down and let the injury heal. He said no.
And the reason is because he says he's not in any further danger playing with that injury because it won't, make him get any worse as long as he keeps that pad on it. But it does hurt.
2nd and 8. Dickey backpedals, looks, Kaufman drops it at the 46.
And
that would have been a Green Bay first down. Coming up this Saturday here on CBS Sports, it's in 2 weeks. It'll be 1 week shy of Lynn Dickey's 35th birthday. Illinois at Ohio State, Washington at Stanford.
Jim, on that last play, we saw what the effect of Paul Kaufman's left knee being injured has on his pass catching abilities. Kaufman, number 82, has a heavy brace on his left knee. And that time, the pass was a little high, and he jumped with his right leg, but his left leg never left the ground.
Good time to come right back to the tight end, Paul Kaufman, on this play. 3rd and 8. Slot formation to the left side. Bucks show blitz. They're coming. Dickey unloads. Dropped by Epps at the 45. Would have been a Green Bay first down. Fred Acorn, the rookie, 3rd-round pick out of Texas this year, over there in the coverage. You can't play it any better than that.
No, but it also looked like a pass that Epps should have caught. The last thing a receiver should be is surprised when he turns around and finds the ball there. Here you see Epps working upfield. He gets bumped a little downfield. Could have been a call either way. He puts the brake on, trying to come back to the ball, and he just did not follow it. His eyes did not follow the ball into his hands, trying to catch it off of his chest. And a lot of times that ball will hit your shoulder pad, which is very hard, and bounce, and that's what happened that time.
How about the incidental contact? Maybe if Epps was trying to rid himself of the defender, maybe it helped break his concentration.
Well, the rule is after 5 yards, they're not supposed to hit a receiver anymore, and clearly there was contact beyond the 5-yard limit.
Leon Bright, number 29, is back deep. Bucky Scribner. Low, wobbly kick. Bright watches it sail out of bounds. Chuck Heberling, the referee, will line it up with the field judge, and it'll be 1st and 10 for Tampa Bay. They start from their own 23. 6:13 left to go in the 3rd quarter. Tampa Bay.
To get on TV, but we think he's cute.
Come on, tell the truth. I saw you painting that sign with him down there. 1st and 10 for the Bucks from their own 24. James Wilder, he has been the Bucks offense, but he's got no blockers in front of him this time. If he got 2, he got it all on his own. Around the NFL, the Rams have scored 2 safeties in that game. The Giants actually led 6-0. New Orleans had a big lead, and now Houston begins to come back with
That's
Warren
with
Moon.
his whole team.
And the Raiders clinging to a 1-point lead against the Broncos at Mile High Stadium. Detroit 1-3 along with the Packers and the Bucks playing catch-up. And Joe Montana out in front of Steve Bartkowski. Atlanta in their high-powered offense. They've got only a Luckhurst field goal. The Redskins, Pugett's old team.
Yeah, we used to love to play the Eagles just for that reason.
2nd and 7.
Blitz.
DeBerg to Carter. First down, Tampa Bay. You got to like the poise of Steve DeBerg that time. He really hung tough in the pocket.
Yeah, he showed a lot of composure. He saw the blitz coming, but he stood in there, waited for his receiver to uncover, and hit him with the ball. Here you see the 2 middle linebackers both coming, and an excellent pickup. I can tell you Tampa worked on that this week after they were embarrassed against the Giants last week. And it worked out. They made the pickup in the reception, first down.
You got to like what Steve DeBerg said after being sacked 4 times by Lawrence Taylor last week. One was a freight train-like sack that caused DeBerg to fumble the ball. He said, no, I didn't hear a train. All I heard was the guy on the offensive line trying to block him yell, look out. James Wilder meets 3 or 4 Green Bay Packers. The first is Robert Brown, number 93, 3rd year out of Virginia Tech.
You know, James Wilder has to be in excellent condition in order to perform the way he is, but to be able to run the ball like that, because a lot of backs have to take a blow. I mean, John Riggins, he's getting a little old now at 35, 36 years old, but he'll get tired. You know, if he's in for a long drive and he carries the ball 4 or 5 times in a row, he has to come out and take a blow. But Wilder, he just sticks right in there.
To the 39 in the grasp of Randy Scott, and that'll bring up 3rd and a passing situation for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Steve DeBerg, we talked about the fact he's in his 8th year out of San Jose State, still picking up on the offense now of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and he gives Boyd Dowler a lot of credit for that offense. Says Dowler has the best understanding of the offense of anybody except for Coach John McKay.
Right, he said Dowler helped him quite a bit when he arrived at Tampa Bay, and again he credits Dowler in the fact that Tampa does have a simplistic offense in terms of the terminology. but they have every play every other NFL team has, and it's not a simple offense.
Slot to the right, House outside, Perry Tuttle inside. DeBerg backpedals, almost fell. Fires over the middle, intercepted. That is number 59, John Anderson, off to the races. Chopped down inside the 20. First and 10, Green Bay. Wilder came over to make the tackle. And a ball that was simply underthrown by DeBerg.
Well, Ezra Johnson, number 90 for Green Bay, had a lot to do with that because he put tremendous pressure up the middle, forcing DeBerg to throw off balance. And John Anderson is well known for making interceptions. Here's DeBerg, and on your right side of your picture, you'll see number 90 come flying through, saying, "I'm going to get you." And he got him and made him throw into a place he didn't want to throw. And look at that move. That's not bad for a linebacker.
How about James Wilder coming from all the way over on the other side of the field to make the hit? DeBerg goes off, but looks like he's capable of coming back in. It's first and 10 from the 16-yard line of Tampa Bay. Word from the bench is he's got a hamstring cramp. Ellis knifes his way down to the 9. Cedric Brown bumped him out of bounds.
Well, the Packers are going to be trying to punch this ball in. 4 points down. They don't want to have to kick a field goal again because they would still be a point down, and you don't know how many opportunities you're going to get like this. You can see there, number 82, the brace on his left knee. You can see his left knee is a lot larger than his right knee. And it hurts him more running pass patterns than blocking. He thinks he can still block as well as he used to.
Second and 3. Bucks with a blitz. Off tackle on the right side goes Ray Krause. And that time the hole was sealed off quickly. McCarron had his hands full with Jeff Davis. And John Cannon, big number 78, doing a job on Ron Hallstrom.
And Dave Logan was in there too, that nose tackle. And he's the guy you got to stop when you're trying to run the ball up the middle. But that's a tough job for any center because you snap the ball in one hand, you give it back to the quarterback, you have your hand between the leg. I mean, how do you block like that? I never did understand how a center could block like that.
There is Lynn Dickey, the veteran out of Kansas State, 13 years. Told us at practice the other day, before he hangs it up, he wants very badly to win a Super Bowl ring. But more importantly, before he retires, he wants to make sure that in his own mind, he knows he gave it everything he had to give it the best shot to get in a position to win a Super Bowl ring.
Yeah, I hadn't had a chance to really get to know Lynn. I talked to him a couple of times, but when I visited with him this week, he really impressed me with his desire. And just in case DeBerg's leg doesn't come around, there's number 14, Jack Thompson, who DeBerg replaced as the starting quarterback for Tampa Bay.
First and goal from the 6. Krause and Huckleby are the running backs. This is Krause. Knight down at the 4. David Logan, the 6-year nose tackle out of Pittsburgh. Kind of an underrated player, Dave Logan is. You talk to players around the league, and they say Dave Logan is all pro, but he's kind of obscured by Hugh Green and Leroy Selman.
Right, I had never met Dave Logan without his pads on, so I was walking in the locker room, and I said, "Where's Logan?" And they said, "Over there." And I said, "Well, this must be a fullback. Where's Logan?" When he takes those pads off, he's not as big as a nose tackle, but he's so strong in his upper body, and he's so quick. That's how he's able to pull it off without being real big.
Starting his 60th straight game for Tampa Bay. Second and 4. Second and goal from the 4. It's now 3rd and 5 and maybe 3rd and 6 as Jeff Davis simply drives the ball carrier backwards. Ordinarily, wouldn't the Packers be throwing the ball to Jefferson or Lofton here on a post pattern if their passing game were clicking on all cylinders, which obviously it's not?
Well, I don't know, Jim. You see, they're running out of space now. The ball's on the 5-yard line. That means they only have 15 yards on the whole field in which to operate. And Lofton, with his speed, needs a lot of field to set up a lot of his moves.
3rd and 5. Slot to the left, Epps inside, outside is Lofton. Dickey backpedals, fires over the middle to Kaufman, touchdown!
You know, Paul Kaufman, they call him Hog, number 82. Here he comes off the line. He gets a clean release. And by I say clean release, the linebacker did not hold him up. He has to get out of the way of the official. And I know that makes him feel good.
Kaufman's really second touchdown catch of the year. So out of the hold of Bucky, Scribner Garcia will try to add to the Packers' lead. It can make it a 3-point Green Bay advantage with 1:33 left to go in the third quarter. I told you they'd throw on third down. Packers regain the lead and have a 3-point advantage. Take another look at the touchdown to Paul Kaufman. By 3, but still the entire fourth quarter and 1:33 left to go in this third quarter. Squib kick. Green Bay should have, or Tampa Bay should have good field position across the 30 at the 35. It'll be 1st and 10. That is Richard Wood, a brown belt in karate, linebacker, and it gives the Bucs good field position once again. Now let's check and see if it's Steve DeBerg. It is Steve trotting out to play quarterback. Jack Thompson had warmed up, but apparently that hamstring cramp worked out over on the sideline. How about the confidence of DeBerg at this point? Now he's thrown 3 interceptions.
Well, but, you know, when I asked McKay what he liked most about DeBerg, he said he liked his confidence, the fact that he believes he can get it done.
Carver and Morton are the running backs. Wilder gets a right. House left. Carter right. Loss of 5. It'll bring up 2nd down and 15. And the man to get through was Randy Scott. He has played a tremendous football game.
Oh, that's right, Jim. And he's the guy they really depend on in the middle. He's the guy that calls the signals. He's the guy that keeps them together in that huddle. There he is, 55. He's looking to the sideline now to see what the next defense will be. And if I'm Steve DeBerg, I got to start thinking, am I back at Meadowlands Stadium? You know, where last week he got rocked by Lawrence Taylor 4 times. And now his last 2 pass attempts, he's been hit both times.
Sanders, the left tackle, had a tough game against LT Lawrence Taylor a week ago. 2nd and 15. DeBerg completely misfired. Jimmy Giles, as they say in the vicinity. If you're going through John McKay's mind, and obviously Steve DeBerg is not having a good game, when do you think about maybe making a switch of quarterbacks?
Well, I think that he's going to stay with DeBerg because DeBerg is the man that he went to 2 weeks ago. He's the man he has confidence in. There's Scott again, number 55, and that's how a good linebacker covers a running back. He tries to hit him, slow him up, and stay with him.
3rd and 15 from the 30 of the Bucs. DeBerg now 13 of 23. 3 interceptions, however. 5 defensive backs in there. Estes Hood, the nickel back. Packard with a stunt on. DeBerg in trouble. Unloads near sideline. Dropped right in front of head coach John McKay, but that would have been still 7 yards shy of 1st down yardage. DeBerg on the backside, sitting on his wallet, if you will, in the grasp of Ezra Johnson, and there's a penalty flag down. Now let's check the call. If it's a late hit against the Packers, that's going to be a very big penalty.
Number 90 for the Packers. Ezra Johnson was in there again, and he is a factor. He only comes in passing situations.
73 offense, holding. 76 defense, unnecessary roughness. They will offset. We'll repeat the down. 3rd down.
73 on the offense is Ron Heller, the rookie out of Penn State. Works the right tackle spot, and 76 for the Packers on defense is the rookie out of Florida State, Alfonso Carricker. So offsetting penalties.
You know, there was a lot of talk about the left tackle for Tampa Bay, 74, Gene Sanders. And his job might have been in jeopardy this week because of the fact that he blew some assignments and caused some sacks last week. But I have to tell you that number 90, Ezra Johnson, is eating him up.
3rd and 15. Tampa Bay's got to push the ball forward. Sideline passes aren't going to pick up 1st down yardage. Motion by House. A long time to develop, and Johnson's got a sack. Ezra Johnson from Morris Brown, the 8-year veteran, a 1st-round pick back in 77. 15.5 sacks a year ago, came crashing through, and he beat Gene Sanders, who had such a terrible game against Lawrence Taylor.
Yeah, Ezra's been injured. He had 2 operations, and he's working his way back slowly. They only use him in passing situations, and I think that he was George Allen's favorite ball player. I never heard George Allen talk so much about a player on another team than he did about Ezra Johnson. He used to love that guy.
3 sacks, costing the Bucs 20 yards. 3rd punt coming up for Garcia. Phil Epps back deep, and the Pack should come out of this with great field position. Epps back at his own 37. Epps at the 42 to the 45. Stutter steps to the 50 and then meets a wall of orange jerseys and gets driven backwards. First and 10 Green Bay after the tackle by Mark Whitty, the reserve tight end. Time winding down. Third quarter here in the Battle of the Bays. Lofton comes out wide to the right side. John Jefferson motion from the top of the screen on down. Ellis handoff, sweeps the left side, crosses the 50, and that's all in the grasp of Hugh Green. I was just going to say it is time for the Bucs defense to rise to the occasion. The offense has been sputtering. Tampa Bay has coughed up the football 4 times actually, 3 interceptions and the fumble. So the Bucs defense has got to get them back into the game. That's the end of the third quarter with the score. Bay, where the Bucs are on the short end of the Green Bay Packers, 20-17. First snap, fourth quarter. The ball at the 49 of Tampa Bay. 2nd and 9 for Green Bay. Motion across. That is John Jefferson. Incomplete at the 37, and simply a marvelous effort by James Lofton trying to dive back over to the football.
There you see Lofton. He's going to use his speed to try to set up the pattern. He really turns it on, and then he's going to stop and break. You see he's wide open. Normally Dickey makes that throw with ease, but I got to think that his back is hurting him a little bit now, Jim, because that's not the normal Lynn Dickey I saw passing that one.
James Lofton, when asked about head coach Forrest Gregg, said, is cream puff one word or two? 3rd and 9. The 5th defensive back in for the Bucs, Fred Acorn, the rookie out of Texas, number 27. Slot left. Jefferson outside. Lofton inside. Dickey. First down for the Packers at the 36 of Tampa Bay, and the reception, John Jefferson. Penalty flag is down. It is against the Packers.
This is what Forrest Gregg means when he says that the Packers are just inches away from breaking. Jefferson with a great curl. It looks like the Packers got a first down and moving, and now they're going to be called back.
3rd down.
Holding on Carl Swanke, the left tackle, number 67, 5th year out of Boston College, so it nullifies a big first down and backs Tampa Bay, or Green Bay rather, up to the 41-yard line.
I mean, as a receiver, you always understood, but you still hated it. I mean, you ran downfield as hard as you could. You made a catch. You got clobbered, all for nothing. But then you still go back to the line and pat the guy on the back and say, do better next time.
Packers 0 for 7 on 3rd down conversion. They look at 3rd and 19. Try a little razzle-dazzle that didn't. Up to the 45-yard line goes Ray Krause. And it's punting time for Green Bay. Leroy Selman stayed at home. So we'll see Bucky Scribner again. Tampa Bay will get the football back, barring a penalty or a fumble, but it'll be deep in their own territory. And now they've got 2 enemies, the clock and the Green Bay Packers. Boy, if you've got confidence in your defense, this might not be a bad time for a fake punt. Scribner is back. You've got pretty good field position at the 45. Leon Bright awaits at the 10. Scribner, he bangs a beauty. This is a towering kick. Hits at the 2 and runs into the end zone. Almost a great kick. You can hear the crowd reaction as the Bucs come out. 1st and 10 from their own 20-yard line. The Packers defense looks over that 3-4 of Green Bay at the moment. Wide to the left side. That is number 89, Kevin House. DeBerg drops, fires, got the tight end, Jerry Bell. First down at the 35 of Tampa Bay. Tom Flynn, the rookie out of Pittsburgh, was there stride for stride. Pretty tough, though, for a safety to cover you big tight ends, Buke.
Oh, yeah, we used to love that. But I told you, DeBerg said he wants to use those tight ends. And tight ends can be a great weapon, especially when you have a Kevin House on one side and a Gerald Carter on the other. There's 82, Jerry Bell. And he's getting a lot of work today. With him and Jimmy Giles in there, it really gives the Packers some problems.
Running backs, James Wilder. He's number 32. Melvin Carver, 28. Carver, motion across. And it's James Wilder. Hurls himself up near the 39, picks up a short 3, brings up 2nd down and 7. How about James Wilder? In the first half, he was off setting an NFL record as far as the Bucs were concerned for most yardage accumulated. 22 carries, 112 yards for that man in the first half. In the second half now, he had a total of 10 carries for just 21 yards.
Well, Forrest Gregg would say it took them 30 minutes to implement their defensive game plan.
2nd and 7. DeBerg. Just misses Jimmy Giles. Boy, if Giles had caught that on the dead run, he might have had something big going on, because he had beaten the linebacker.
Yeah, he had Randy Scott chasing him that time, and that's...
Let's check in around the NFL today once again. All right, Brent, the Rams are 2-2 in the West, and of course the Giants were 3-1 in the East. DeBerg backpedals on 3rd and 7, in trouble, unloads. Wide open is Kevin House. Penalty flag is down. House loses the football out of bounds. Has to be a face mask call against the Packers. DeBerg back there scrambling for his life. First down for Tampa Bay at the 40 of Green Bay. And we'll check the penalty call with Chuck Heberling, the referee. Douglas, I believe, the man that had the face mask of Kevin House.
Yeah, DeBerg showed me a lot on that play, Jim. A lot of quarterbacks in the league would have thrown that ball away rather than stay in there, knowing that he was under risk of getting killed.
Face mask, 5-yard penalty, tacked on to the end of the run. First down.
There's number 89, Kevin House. We'll see this on the replay. He's the big play receiver. He comes back in motion, just like Drew Pearson used to do for many years with the Cowboys. He lets the defense go downfield, and then he cuts behind, wide open. And DeBerg finally got that timing down, and House knows what to do with it.
That's Mike Douglas, and watch that left hand, and then
that's the Mad Dog. I mean, he's already got one penalty for being too aggressive.
Estes Hood looked like he got a piece of it also. Pitch back to James Wilder coming at you, and he gets back to the line of scrimmage, and not much more. That was the 9th penalty against the Packers, by the way, for 72 yards. James Wilder, 33 carries, 135 yards.
But that Wilder, he even walks back to the huddle like Calvin Hill used to do. You know, Calvin was a great running back with the Dallas Cowboys, the Redskins, the Browns. And when I was a rookie at Dallas, a lot of times I didn't make such a great block, and Calvin would run right up my back. And he told me, you better get out the way because I'm coming. And Wilder's the same way.
From the 31 of Green Bay, Steve DeBerg looks at 2nd and 7 and audibilizes now. He's got House wide to the right, Carter wide to the left, and loose football, a little play action. DeBerg misses a wide open Jerry Bell. Or Jimmy Giles. That was Giles down at the 15.
Well, that's a play known as a bootleg. That's when the quarterback comes out and fakes, and then he goes. Now, Giles, he's supposed to come off the line and then come across, slipping underneath the linebackers. 41 Flynn went with the play action, and as a rookie, that will happen. Giles is open, but DeBerg just can't quite get it in. He's still got to learn those receivers.
How frustrating is that for you tight ends? You're out there, you're wide open, and the ball goes sailing 3-4 feet over your head, and you know you can't get to it.
Well, it's better than not getting thrown at all.
3rd and 7 from the 31. House in motion. DeBerg unloads, and it is incomplete, out of bounds.
Oh, what a catch.
Gerald Carter made a tremendous one-handed grab, but when he came down with the football, he was clearly across the end line, out of bounds.
Yeah, well, that's one of these situations where it's a judgment call by the official. If the official thinks that you would have on your own come down with the catch in bounds, they call it a reception. And here it might have been an example of that because the defensive back drove him out of bounds, and the official had already made up his mind. That was Mark Lee, number 22, making the defensive breakup.
Line of scrimmage, the 31 of the Packers. So we will see Obed Ariri, who has already had a 46-yarder. And if you say clear the crossbar, that's the benefit of the doubt. It just inched its way across. This will be a 50-yard try. Ariri, perfect from the only field goal try he has made, 46 yards. Hash mark near side, Blair Keel will hold. He got it. A line drive that Obed Ariri sent through the uprights. And look at the Bucs out in midfield. We've got 12:04 left to go and 8 minutes of football here at Tampa Bay, and we're right back the way we started, all knotted up. Packers with 20 and the Bucs with 20. Obed Ariri, who's had a 46-yarder and a 50-yarder, the longest of his career, kicks off to Phil Epps at the 5. Little stutter step and approaches the 20, and a penalty flag thrown from halfway across the field again. Mark Whitty chased him out of bounds. Let's see if it's against the Packers. Illegal use of hands, Green Bay. Packers now, Gene, are backed up in what we like to call be careful country, I guess, huh?
Yeah, as an offensive team, you just hate to be so close to your goal line because you know the odds are against you driving the length of the field.
Number 56, first down.
Cliff Lewis, fourth-year linebacker out of Southern Miss, detected holding, so it's 1st and 10 Packers at the 20. Next Sunday on the NFL Today, Phyllis George will have a report on the New Orleans Saints quarterback Richard Todd. In Todd we trust. Who last week was 14 of 29, 264 yards and 2 touchdowns against the Cardinals. Check your local listings. It's the NFL Today next week here on CBS Sports. 1st and 10 Packers, a 20-20 tie. The Bucs in Green Bay. 11:55 left to go. Slot to the left side. Jefferson inside, Lofton outside. Number 31, Gary Ellis. Hammers for 5 tough yards in the grasp of Hugh Green.
Hugh Green reminds me a lot of Hollywood Henderson because he's just so fast and he's so quick. It makes it difficult for an offensive player to block him. We're getting some updates on some scores now.
New Orleans way out in front, and of course Richard Todd, the subject of Phyllis George's feature. Denver
trusting him.
playing protective custody of a 3-point lead, and that's been that way since the second quarter at Candlestick. 2nd and 5. Huckabee. 3rd and 4. Leroy Selman, and the Bucs defense starts to dig in.
Well, Jim, this is the part of the game where the home field can become a factor. You know, this crowd is trying to get in the game. Here you see Huckabee coming off the left side, and I wouldn't want to be Huckabee. Happen to look at Leroy Selman. There he is, 63. Hugh Green, 53. It's a good time to lay down.
It was funny at the Packers practice this week. We asked Forrest Gregg what his game plan was. He said, somebody block Leroy. Third and 4, Green Bay from the 16 of the pack. Cecil Johnson of the Bucs told us this week at practice, he said, we are the spark plug of this team, the defense. Violence is our nickname. We like to make them pay. Well, they did that.
Right, and that was a big play from a guy you don't expect to get a big play from. John Cannon, number 78, the left defensive end for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
It was a lifeguard in the offseason at the New Jersey Shore. That Washington score against Philadelphia, a final, by the way. Scribner now 5 punts, 48.6 his average. His longest has been 55. Doing a little realignment work. Leon Bright is back at the 43, and if he makes the catch, the Bucs should have great field position. Off the side of Scribner's foot. Will roll dead just across midfield. So the Bucs begin 1st and 10 at their own 48. They've got good field position, and they've got a red-hot Obed Ariri, who's kicked field goals of 46 and 50 yards. We've got a 20-20 standoff. Own 48, a new nose tackle for Green Bay. Bill Neal, 4th year out of Pittsburgh, lines up helmet to helmet with Steve Wilson. James Wilder. He got 4 all on his own. I mean, he just hurled himself. 2nd and 6. Tonight on CBS following football, this of course CBS doubleheader Sunday, 60 Minutes will be seen in its entirety. Then Murder, She Wrote. That's a good new series with Angela Lansbury. All the critics around the country, they like
mysteries.
And Trapper John M.D. all tonight following football here on CBS. There is Bill Neal, the new nose tackle we told you about.
He's in for Terry Jones. They use Bill a lot, and maybe Terry got a little tired because it is a little warmer here than in Green Bay.
Free agent, 3-year starter with the Giants. Motion by Armstrong. Wilder gets the ball. Hole left side. Sealed off quickly. Blocking there by Sanders and Corson. Cumbie and Neal the first to get there. Steve Corson, he bench presses 550 pounds.
Let's take a look at Bill Neal now working the center over. Boy, he's got a fist up in his face, and he still kept going. I mean, when I got a fist in my face, I would just get out of the way. But no, he gets away, goes over and puts his head on Wilder and helps to bring him down.
I'm not sure I'd want to play nose tackle.
I'm sure I wouldn't.
3rd and 3. Line of scrimmage, the 45 of the Packers. Want to bet Wilder gets the ball? Wilder's got it, and Wilder's got a first down. The NFL total yardage leader from scrimmage, James Wilder, picked up a big first down for the Bucs.
That was a great read by DeBerg. DeBerg comes out and he wants to get the ball to Wilder right away like he did earlier in the game, but Mike Douglas was out there, so he throws it over Douglas's head. Wilder keeps going and makes a big catch for a first down.
I want to tell you, Bill Neal just bowled over Ron Heller. I mean, Neal put him on his backside and kept coming, putting pressure on DeBerg. Number 77, the nose tackle.
Steve knows how to use those backs.
First and 10 for the Bucs from the 36 of the Packers. You wouldn't expect they would go to the air very much with the kind of the afternoon that DeBerg has had. And when you've got Wilder and you're able to run the football, DeBerg is 16 of 28 with 3 interceptions. Keep it on the ground, work on the clock.
That's right, Jim. This part of the game, this is the time when you really want to establish yourself. This is the time when the team who really wants it the most shows it by the way they come off the ball. The key is to watch the offensive line play as this team drives, because Tampa's going to want to keep it on the ground and just pound it in and beat the Packers into submission. The Packers have a real challenge to stop that.
House wide left. Carter motion, top of the screen. DeBerg looks, fires, got his man, and then drops it out of bounds at the 27-yard line out of the backfield. Adger Armstrong. Mark Murphy back there on the coverage, but that's a catchable ball.
Yeah, it's a catchable ball, but I'm sure Adger Armstrong is not too used to catching the ball coming out of the backfield. Jack Thompson, who was a starting quarterback for Tampa early in the year, would go downfield on a play like that. But Steve DeBerg has told us time and again that he likes to use his backs, especially in a ball control type offense, which is what the Bucs are trying to do here. But Adger just couldn't bring it in.
Armstrong, 6 receptions, 45 yards, averaging 7.5 per reception coming in. Estes Hood, the nickelback, in there for the Pack. 3rd and 6. Will Green Bay blitz? They play it safe. DeBerg unloads, batted down, incomplete at the 25-yard line, but a penalty flag thrown in the backfield of Tampa Bay. Mark Lee, number 22, the first to get there to bust up the errant pass, holding against the Bucs.
I was just going to talk about how great the protection was.
Maybe that's why. Sanders, who had a tough game against Lawrence Taylor, over on the left side. Steve Corson, number 72, 7th-year left guard out of South Carolina. Chuck Heberling will give us the culprit in a moment as soon as Mike Douglas and Ezra Johnson accept the penalty.
Holding, offense, number 74, he declined. 4th down.
That's Gene Sanders.
Yeah, that's the marked man. Check it out at the top of the screen, number 74 for Tampa. And you see that arm underneath his? That's what they call holding. And you see his other arm is around his back. That's Ezra Johnson, who's already been pressuring DeBerg. He's had a sack. And I guess that's the only way Gene can block him.
A 50-yard field goal try coming up by Obed Ariri. If good, it will give the Bucs the lead with 6:49 remaining. Blair Keel will hold, hash mark near side. He made one from the exact same spot about 2.5 minutes ago. Wide to the right. Had enough distance, but it just sliced off to the right. So we've got a 20-20 standoff still. 6:44 remaining. The Battle of the Bays. Both the Bucs and Green Bay come in. All the Tampa Bay defense and try to break one big to Lofton or Jefferson.
I think we're going to see some of the same plays they used at the end of the first half, and they were successful to drive down and get that field goal.
From the Green Bay 32, slot left, Lofton and Jefferson. They set it up, intercepted, touchdown, Tampa Bay! David Logan! tried to set up the screen pass, and David Logan, who John McKay said this week at practice will not be outplayed by anyone in the National Football League at nose tackle, comes up with the interception, runs it back for a touchdown. The penalty flags you saw in the end zone because so many of the Bucs went over for a celebration. That's the 5-yard taunting rule. That will be assessed on the ensuing kickoff. But what's 5 yards when you've just scored the go-ahead touchdown?
Unsportsmanlike conduct, offense on the touchdown. The touchdown will count. A 5-yard penalty will be on.
You never want to give up a 5-yard penalty, Jim, but you can see how big this game is for both teams. 76 Dave Logan was at the line as a nose tackle. He read screen, he got out to the flat, and what a big play.
Well, that football disappears in his hands. Or in his hand. It looked like he was carrying a baseball out there. Obed Ariri, big extra point. Makes it a 7-point Bucs advantage. .6:35 left to go. That's the 4th career touchdown from Dave Logan. And to the near side, Harlan Huckleby. Ariri will get good height, but not a lot of distance. At the 7, Phillips. Penalty flag is down again. Epps kind of slithers to the 23, but we'll have to check in with Chuck Heberling again. Chuck's getting almost as much airtime as Gene Fugate.
You know, a lot of times, Jim, when everybody knows how important it is and how big a play it is, everybody tries really hard. And sometimes you try too hard. You know, if you missed your guy with a legal attempt, sometimes you try something illegal. And the preliminary signal certainly would indicate that somebody from Green Bay was holding. And you can't do that with 6 minutes to go in a game, and you got to get a touchdown to tie it.
Illegal block, number 99 on the return. First down.
So Green Bay hurts themselves with penalties again. Next weekend here on CBS Sports, the Saints and the Bears, the Vikings and the Bucs. Consult your local listing. It all starts with the NFL Today.
That penalty was on number 99, John Dorsey, who's a reserve linebacker. And I really feel for him right now because you hate to do it with such a big game and games on the line when you make a penalty like that.
Line of scrimmage to the 12-yard line. Handoff to Ellis, sweeping the left side. The Bucs defense starts to penetrate, and Ellis did all that on his own. The blocking collapsed, and number 63 for the Buccaneers had a shot in the backfield. That, of course, Leroy Selman, but that time Ellis gave him the hip and kind of took it away.
You know, Leroy Selman, number 63, has such tremendous technique. And he says that he watches a few people around the league, but what he really works on is his upper body strength. You can see that he's very small in his legs, but in his upper body strength, he uses technique, he uses his arms to get the blockers off of him.
You want upper body strength? How about Dave Logan?
You better believe it.
2nd and 5, Green Bay. Harlan Huckleby, convoy right. Breaks it. First down for the Pack. Harlan Huckleby with a great move all the way up to the 40-yard line. Chased out of bounds by Cedric Brown. So the Packers, thinking the Bucs are thinking pass, cross them up with a run, and it works for a big first down.
Well, that's some great play calling for Green Bay because at the end of the first half, they were able to drive for that field goal. They did it very quickly, and they didn't even use a timeout. So Forrest Gregg has confidence in his offense, and he's trying to get them to have more confidence in themselves. They have some new people on the line. They have pretty much the same receivers, but they still have to learn to work as a unit. You know, Forrest Gregg is still putting his stamp on the Packers. Even though the same offensive coordinator, the same quarterback, the same receivers, they changed the tempo a little bit. I know when I was at Washington and George Allen left, Jack Pardee came in trying to do the same things, but it wasn't the same. It took a while.
From the 40 of the Green Bay Packers, slot left with J.J. and Lofton. Inside handoff. It's Ray Krause. Bangs to the 44 of Green Bay. 5:30 and counting left to go in this football game. Scott Brantley, number 52, and number 56, Cedric Johnson for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in there on the hit.
Because a lot of people, Jim, have been really impatient with the Packer offense, but you got to remember when Joe Gibbs went to the Redskins, he had the same material pretty much that he has today, but still it took them 6 games to get on track. They were 0-5. So Forrest Gregg is hoping that the Packers every game get a little better, and who knows, with 5 minutes left, they certainly have plenty of time to do it today. Got 5, maybe 6 on his own. Beasley Reese, 9-year veteran for
North Texas State free agent obtained by from the New York Giants. Chased him out of bounds. That should be very close to first down yardage. It is, says Chuck Heberling. And the Packers have it at midfield. Green Bay driving. A field goal does them no good. They have to punch it in for 7.
Yeah, they know that, but they're also not rushing. And I think having a quarterback like Lynn Dickey at a time like this is really, really helpful, because Lynn Dickey's been in this situation before, and the Packers know that he knows what needs to be done in this situation.
Both quarterbacks with 3 interceptions. Dickey's last led to the go-ahead touchdown. Play action fake. The receiver, John Jefferson, turned it inside, and the ball was thrown. And again, that mistiming between the quarterback and the receiver.
Right. I think probably that time what caused the mistiming was, I didn't see it, but I wouldn't be surprised if Lofton got bumped a little bit coming off the line, because Tampa wants to take away his speed. That's his biggest asset as a receiver. I think he's probably one of the fastest receivers of all time in the NFL, except for Bob Hayes, of course. He's the fastest person I ever saw.
Second down and 10. Let's keep our eyes on 80. James Lofton wide left, and 83 in motion. John Jefferson. They figured in the play call eventually. Harlan Huckabee rambles right side. They keep it on the ground. Bumped out of bounds inside the 45 by Scott Brantley. Late score from Los Angeles. No contest. Rams over the 3-1 Giants in a romp. Saints looking to bury Houston. Denver by a field goal against the Raiders. Chargers clinging to a 3-point lead against the Lions, and a safety, Max Runniger, chased out of bounds, so it's a 14-5 game. That's the final. The Redskins shutting out the Eagles. 3rd and 4. 5 nickelbacks in there. This is number 31, Gary Ellis. First down. He did it on second effort. He just dove between Fred Acorn, number 27, and Cedric Brown.
That's tremendous effort by number 31, Gary Ellis. Here the play clearly was designed to the right. Logan's all over number 76, and he breaks it back. Hugh Green gets picked off by a block, and here comes 34, Cedric Brown, coming up to make the hit, but he didn't make a clean hit. Gary slipped it and made the first down.
1st and 10 for the Packers. The reason I say watch 83 Jefferson and 80 Lofton, we know because we saw it at practice. They've got a reverse in there.
And you never know when they might use it.
Won't be on this play because they're lined up on the same side. Pitch back. Ray Krause. He did well to pick up 1 tough yard. You don't think there's some hitting going on at this stage of the game?
I told you, intensity is going to pick up. But I think the key thing here is that Forrest Gregg, win or lose, he's showing confidence in his offensive line, because it's be easy now just to pass every down, but he's still running that ball, and that's going to mean a lot to these guys when they go back to Green Bay. Win or lose, they're going to remember that Forrest Gregg had a confidence in him. He called the running plays believing they can make the running game go, and it's a lot easier to pass when your running game is clicking.
You'll see them go to the passing game pretty soon. 3:15 and counting. Lofton left, Jefferson right. Dickey wants it all. Looks for Lofton. Lofton's got it at the 17. He turned Jeremiah Castile around, and now they say, wait a minute, he was across the end line. Lofton cannot believe it.
Boy, Dickey had time to throw because 3 people were blocking Leroy Selman that time. You see, he has plenty of time. He guns it, and let's see if he's in bounds. Looked pretty good to me. He looked like he had 2 feet and 2 knees in. I don't know what more the official wanted.
Either didn't have control. I'm not sure that the one leg actually went down.
That official has to be just like a first base umpire. I mean, does a first base umpire watch the base, or does he watch the mitt when the guy's catching it? And that time, the official had to decide whether he's going to watch the reception or watch the feet. And I guess he was watching the hands and wasn't satisfied that Lofton had control of it. That's a tough play.
Again, 60 minutes in its entirety following football here on CBS Sports. 2 of 10 in third down conversions. It's 3rd and 9 right now, and the Packers have to take a timeout because the game pretty much riding on this call. 38. 5 defensive backs in there for Tampa Bay. Fred Acorn, the rookie out of Texas, number 27. He's the nickel. Slot right. Lofton outside. Jefferson inside. Motion across by John Jefferson. Dickey in trouble. Unloads. Caught at the 29. close to first down yardage by Jefferson. This will depend on the spot. Clock is stopped. 2:52 for the measurement.
Both Hugh Green and Scott Brantley were there. There's 52 Scott Brantley. He reads pass and he starts to drop back into his route. There's Dave Logan putting a rush on. On the right of your screen, you'll see Selman come around, pressuring him. But Dickey, even though he has the flak jacket on, you see him getting out of there and delivering a pass in a crowd, and two linebackers trying to make him pay.
Boy, Jefferson knew he was going to pay, didn't he?
That's right. But he's a money ball player, and he looks forward to those opportunities.
4th and less than a foot. The Packers will go with Paul Kaufman, 82, and Gary Lewis, 81, double tight end. Ed West, 86, the rookie out of Auburn, a third tight end.
Let's look for them to wedge this right up on the left.
Ray Krause, the crowd doesn't think so. Davis doesn't think so. Logan doesn't think so. The offense doesn't think so. They're out on the field, and Chuck Heberling doesn't think so. First down, Tampa Bay. Watch Jeff Davis, 58, center of the screen.
Boy, he comes over the top, and that's what you call meeting him at the point of attack. And look, two more Buccaneers flying over the pack.
I think that's more taking the attack to him.
That's right. Green Bay thought they could wedge it to the left, either with a sneak or with a quick dive. But Tampa thought otherwise. That Jeff Davis, the way he flew across the top, that's what you have to do. You have to meet him right at the line.
Packers asked for a measurement. They actually lost the length of the football.
Well, we talked about that Tampa Bay big play defense. That's hard to say. But that was a big play.
All right, this game far from over for Packer fans, of course. It's 1st and 10 for the Bucs at the 30. Tampa Bay with a 7-point lead, 2:27 left to go. Green Bay has 2 timeouts remaining. Tampa Bay's got to pick up a couple of first downs or the Packers get the ball back. Double tight for the Bucs. Giles and Bell. Baxter Armstrong and James Wilder. They'll work on the clock. It's Wilder. Packers would like to strip him of the football. No gain. 2nd and 10.
Well, this is where James Wilder earns his money, because everybody on the Green Bay defense is trying to get to him and strip that ball. You know, Tampa wants to have a ball control offense. They want to run it. They want to get a few first downs.
Tampa Bay has taken their timeout. They have 1 remaining. So with 2:20 left to go, a 27-20 football game. Both the Bucs and the Packers came in with identical 1-3 records, along with the Lions in the NFC Central. They were all trailing the Chicago Bears, but the Bears upset by the Dallas Cowboys, so Chicago is now 3-2. The Lions, the last time we checked, were trailing the Chargers by just a field goal. So whoever comes out of this game will be 2-3 and in pretty good position as far as the NFC Central Division race is concerned. You know, the Lions last year, Gene, started off with a 1-4 record overall, but they went 7-1 in the NFC Central to win the division.
Yeah, well, it's going to be tough this year to win 7 games in a row, because a lot of these teams, I mean, you talk about parity in the NFL, I think we're really seeing it this year. And you can see how close these two teams are playing. That it's really, really tough to get off a winning streak like that. So difficult to sustain the concentration for that period of time.
Short pickup over the right side by number 32, James Wilder, brings up 3rd and 8. John Jefferson on the hit. And the Packers have taken their final timeout. That means that on the next snap, if Green Bay, who will be out of timeouts, they will have no timeouts remaining, so Tampa Bay, of course, will be stopped by the 2-minute warning. So Green Bay, if they can stop the Bucs here, will get the ball back.
That's right, but it's also going to put pressure on their offense if they do get the ball back, having to go down, and they need a touchdown, so they must score a touchdown and convert the extra point to tie this game. And driving a long way without timeouts with less than 2 minutes is very difficult. But the Packers showed us that they have experience doing that in the first half. There's DeBerg. They're trying to select a play, and I know that they don't want to throw it, but it's 3rd and 8, and they don't want to give the ball to the Packers either.
I would be absolutely stunned if they throw the football. If they throw it, they've got to take a deep pattern, one that even if it's intercepted is actually a punt in effect.
Well, that's a good point, Jim. That's exactly what I was going to say, that if you do throw it, here's a good time to use your play action and try to go deep for Kevin House for the home run. But any other kind of pass is very, very dangerous. Some coaches like to call screens in this play, but we saw what can happen with a screen. David Logan ran it back the other way for a touchdown. So I'm sure McKay looked at his plays and probably has a good one ready. But at the same time, Forrest Gregg looked at his defense, and he thinks they may have some answers there. So it's 3rd and 8. Green Bay offense is getting ready. Let's see what Tampa can do.
Wilder will not get the first down. He bowls back to the 33 in the grasp of Mike Douglas. Punting situation for Tampa Bay, but not before the time ticks down to the 2-minute warning. The Packers are out of timeouts. They've got 2 minutes left in regulation, and they trail Tampa Bay. Tampa with a 7-point lead over Green Bay, 27-20 at the 2-minute warning. Kiko Garcia, 3 punts, 38 yards his average so far, and the longest 42 yards, 1 incomplete pass and a muff specialty teams play. Back deep, Harlan Huckabee, Phillips. Phillips is the deep back. Low snap from center, and Garcia did well to get it away. Got away a pretty good kick. Goes out of bounds at about the 25-yard line of the Packers. 1st and 10, Green Bay down by 7, but they've got no timeouts, and they're 75 yards away.
So when you have to drive 75 yards and you have no timeouts, you got to make sure that you can get out of bounds with the ball.
Coming up at the end of our game, we will be sending you out to Los Angeles. Dick Vermeil, former head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, and Frank Lieber. They've got a dandy going on there, the Rams and the Giants. And, of course, following football on CBS Doubleheader Sunday, 60 Minutes, an all-new edition, will be seen in its entirety, except on the West Coast. It kicks off CBS' great Sunday night lineup. Packers out of timeout. Slot to the left. Epps and John Jefferson. Lofton wide right. Over the middle. First down for the Packers at the 35 to Harlan Huckabee out of the backfield. Packers cannot stop the clock. 1:40 and counting. 65 yards away. Dickey with an audible. Epps wide left. Jefferson in the slot. Lofton wide right. To Lofton. Incomplete at the 45-yard line of Tampa Bay. Jeremiah Castile back on the coverage.
Okay, we'll see Lofton here on the replay. He's using his speed to get downfield. They do not want to give up a long touchdown, so he has plenty of cushion to run that out pattern. But it's just a little underthrown, and Jeremiah Castile, number 23 for Tampa, comes back to make a great knockdown. You know, Lynn Dickey, he's been throwing a little short on a lot of occasions today, Jim. That flak jacket may be getting in the way.
Dickey, 11 out of 22. 150 yards, 3 interceptions. 2nd and 10. Safety valve to Ellis. Ellis on his own. Down to the 41. Nice pickup of 6. Brings up 3rd and 4. Beasley Reese, the postbuster, and a good friend of Gene Fugate on the coverage. But again, the clock winding down. 107, 106, 105. They'll have to hurry. They need 4 just to keep the football. Over the middle. Wide open. First down for the Packers at the 41 of Tampa Bay is Phil Epps. But the Packers fighting the scoreboard and the clock. 50 seconds and counting. 6 defensive backs in there now for Tampa Bay. He'll stop the clock and fire out of bounds. 41 seconds remaining. Line of scrimmage, the 41-yard line. All right, Gene, with the Washington Redskins, with the Dallas Cowboys, you've been in similar situations with Kilmer, with Jurgensen, with Staubach. What kind of plays would you call? Would you like to see called?
Well, they got to keep it, pretty near the sidelines. I mean, 41 seconds, you really get afraid that you'll catch the ball in the middle, and by the time they unpile everybody, the clock runs out. But at the same time, that's what the Tampa Bay defense will be giving to Green Bay, because they're going to try to shut off everything deep and everything at the sidelines. So look for some in routes over the middle.
Lofton left, Epps and Jefferson right. Motion right side. Greg Cook, the 8-year veteran out of Arkansas. Little cadence problem. Of course, you never know when the crowd might cause that.
Well, the crowd is a factor now.
Number 68, offense, 5 yards.
That's not the direction the Packers needed to go. 12 penalties, 97 yards for Green Bay. How about defensively right now if you're Tampa Bay? What are you thinking? Leroy Selman on the front side, the nose tackle, Dave Logan, who has that 27-yard interception return for a touchdown. That's the difference. You're getting tired a little bit at this point of the game, but where do you dig down for that extra reserve?
If you're a pro, you can taste it right now, and it's nothing like winning.
Dickey over the middle. At the 37-yard line, shy of first down yardage, Harlan Huckabee inside of 30 seconds. Packers in trouble. They can't stop the clock. Epps left. Lofton and John Jefferson. They're going to have to go deep on one play. This is it. Lofton at the 15. Lofton lateral. Touchdown Packers. Gary Ellis. The Bucs are stunned. How about that one? That man, Forrest Gregg, said winners are tough people. Watch Lofton.
Jim, this is the play we used to call the hook and lateral. Lofton's going to come down and hook.
He kind of lulls the defense to sleep right there.
He comes down and he hooks, and then he laterals back. And it's a design play, and we used to run it. And I used to love it.
Eddie Garcia, 5 out of 6 in extra point attempts this year since replacing Jan Stenerud, has tied up this football game. 8 seconds to go. A 27-27 standoff between the Green Bay Packers and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I guess it might be a little ironic if this game were to be decided by a field goal kicker, because the series, well, we'll tell you about that after this play. Watch the way Lofton kind of hangs up like a basketball player after he catches the ball before he laterals it.
There he is, number 80. And again, the play is called a hook and lateral. He hooked. He was looking for his man, and there he is. And what a lateral. Now, I don't know if that play was designed. I mean, some teams do have that play in their playbook, but Forrest Gregg will take it.
8 seconds left to go. The Green Bay Packers swept both meetings a year ago. 55-14 Green Bay after having a 49-0 lead at halftime. And then a battle of field goals here at Tampa Bay. It was 12-9 a year ago. It was an overtime game, and Jan Stenerud, 4 field goals. The last one from 23 yards out in overtime, the difference. And it was the 3rd overtime game that the Buccaneers were involved in. And of course, Jan Stenerud, now no longer a Green Bay Packer. From the 35, Garcia, who just tied it up with the extra point, will kick off. And of course, what you don't want here, Gene Fugit, is somebody to break it back big. Squib kick.
That's right, and there he did. He squibbed it.
Clock starts now. Michael Morton will just down it. 6. And apparently content to let it wind down to 4 seconds left to go. So the offense, they don't trot out onto the field. I said the Bucs were stunned. The offense just walking out onto the field.
Yeah, they're stunned.
And the difference, the Packers are trotting out.
Well, I think the Bucs have made the decision to run this clock out. I don't think they want to take any chances at all of handling the ball down here with 4 seconds left. I think they want to take it to overtime, Jim.
4 seconds left to go. If they just run out the football, you'll hear some boos. Why not take the last play and throw it as far as you can and hope that somebody comes up with a miraculous catch or maybe a penalty?
Because it might be a miraculous catch for the wrong team.
Not much doubt from this formation what they're going to do. We've got overtime. A 27-27 standoff. Final there, the Rams on top. Our score here, 27-all. The Green Bay Packers kicked a 46-yarder and a 50-yard field goal for the Bucs. We'll kick it off to either Phil Epps, number 85, to the top of your screen, or Harlan Huckabee, number 25, to the near side. Phillips lets it go out of bounds at the 6. So that'll back the Bucs up 5 yards. Both the Green Bay Packers and the Buccaneers of Tampa came in with 1-3 records in that NFC Black and Blue Central Division. The Chicago Bears, of course, beaten by the Dallas Cowboys today, have fallen to 3-2. So the winner here, Gene, right in the thick of that NFC Central battle.
That's right, and that's why it's a big game for both teams, and that's why both teams have been putting out 100%. I mean, both teams have been trying so hard to win this game, and that's why I'm afraid now that they're in overtime, sometimes guys try a little too hard because they know how much is riding on every play. I mean, any one play can win or lose this game, and that's what everybody's thinking about right now.
How about the defense of Tampa Bay? It's their spark plug. It's their strength. They've got to be back on their heels a little bit. They got fooled, and they gave up a big play late for the tying touchdown. How about the intensity level?
It won't bother them at all, Jim, because they'll view that as a fluke. Any good player who gets beaten knows it had to be a mistake because I'm so good, there's no way they could beat me. So it had to be a fluke. It's a fluke play. And that's the way Tampa's going to look at it. They're hoping for good position, hope to stop them on 3 downs and give the offense good position to win this game.
As a player, does that lump grow a little large in your throat when you get into overtime?
I tell you, when I was with Dallas, I was sure glad Roger Staubach was on my side.
To the top of your screen, Huckabee near side again. Obed-Ariri 5 yards deeper at the 30-yard line. Green Bay should have good field position. High, but a very short kick. Epps at the 15, 25, breaks it big across the 30 to the 33. And that's where the Packers, led by Lynn Dickey, the 13-year veteran out of Kansas State, will start 1st and 10. Dickey has had some turnover problems, as has his counterpart Steve DeBerg. Lynn is 14 of 28, 214 yards, 3 interceptions, but 2 touchdowns. He is thrown for 2. Steve DeBerg has run for 1, and we are knotted up 27 all.
Yeah, Lynn Dickey, number 12, you can see his back there. He has a flak jacket on. He has broken bones in the bottom of his back, and it's been bothering him a little bit during the game. But he's the type of ball player that he rises to the occasion, and he wants that Super Bowl ring, and this is the type of situation he looks to shine in.
Slot left. Jefferson and Lofton. Inside handoff to Ray Crouch, the former running back of the Runnin' Rebels, Nevada, Las Vegas. Bangs his way up near the 35. And it's 2nd down, 8 yards to go. David Logan, the nose tackle, number 76, the man who had a 27-yard interception return for the go-ahead Tampa Bay touchdown, the man that made the hit. And for Packer fans who have just joined us, if you're wondering how Lofton is doing, 3 catches, 66 yards. And how about J.J.?
John Jefferson, he also has caught 3 for 37, and his have been very tough catches over the middle.
Paul Kaufman, the tight end, with just 1 reception. Bothered with a bad wheel, playing with a knee brace. 2nd and 7. Swing pass to Huckabee out of the backfield. Huckabee breaks it close to 1st down yardage, hurls across the 47. 1st down for Green Bay.
Green Bay likes to use a lot of screen-type action. Here you see a one-man screen. The right guard is pulling out, number 64, and he's going to get in front of Huckabee. Huckabee gets upfield using that great block. Lofton gets out the way so he doesn't have a clip on his hands, and he goes for the 1st down.
At the 45 of Green Bay. 13:40 and counting. We're at overtime in Tampa Bay. 27 all, the Packers and the Bucs. Lofton wide left. Jefferson motion across top of your screen. Ellis, one-handed catch. Ellis inside Bucs territory, bumped out of bounds at the 48 of Tampa Bay. He approaches 1st down yardage again. And again, I question the intensity of the Bucs defense. They seem just a little flat after that big play.
Well, I'm sure it took a little bit of steam out of them, but they're home. This is a big game for them, and they know how much it means. 63 Leroy Selman, he doesn't say a lot in that huddle, but 53 Hugh Green, he'll be chatting them up, getting them ready to go.
How about the crowd? Can they be any kind of help to the Bucs right now? They seem a little flat as well.
They're waiting for the Bucs to have just one good play so they can get behind their home team.
2nd and 2. Ray Crouch dives back to the 48, back to the original line of scrimmage in the grasp of the postbuster, Beasley Reese.
Well, you'll rarely see Beasley get up there and make a tackle like that in the backfield because usually he's going to be so concerned about Jefferson and Lofton going deep. But now they're getting to that 50. They're getting near the field goal range, and Tampa can't let them have another 1st down.
12:56 and counting in overtime. 60 minutes will be seen in its entirety, an all-new edition, kicking off CBS's Sunday night lineup. 3rd and 2. Krause dives near the 36, check at the 46, and a penalty flag is down. The spot will be so important, but also the penalty flag. Krause prior to this, 12 carries, 15 yards. David Logan, the nose tackle, the first Buck to get there.
And you got to give some credit to number 56 for Tampa, also Cecil Johnson, who had tremendous penetration, forcing the running back to turn up a little quicker than he wanted to. And that's why it's going to be a very close call to see if they made the first down.
They will unpile, and it looks like one of the Bucks is down. That is number 58 for Tampa Bay, and that is Jeff Davis, who played himself a great goal line stand about 4 minutes ago. So this will be an official's timeout. Both the Packers and the Bucks with 2 timeouts in the overtime session. Now they were stopped on 4th and a foot before on that great play I alluded to by Jeff Davis, who is out. Scott Brantley is out. So the Bucks with their big play linebackers, Danny Spradlin, 55, replaces Brantley. Richard Wood, brown belt in karate, 10-year veteran out of USC, replacing Jeff Davis. What do you call if you're the Packers?
Well, the Packers seem to think that there's a little softness on that left side. They wanted to run right at Logan if Tampa Bay's in a 4-man line, but they tried it last time, and Jeff Davis came over the top to stop it.
How about a long count by Dickey trying to draw the Bucks offside? Green Bay's as confused as we are. They take one of their 2 timeouts. 12:23 in the overtime session. 4th and inches, Green Bay, and Forrest Gregg and Lynn Dickey having a conclave over on the sidelines.
Well, Lynn Dickey wants to be sure.
We're back at Tampa, and whatever it was Lynn Dickey saw in the Bucks defense, he didn't like it, and after the timeout, Forrest Gregg decided not to go for it on 4th and a foot. So Leon Bright is back anticipating the punt from that man, Bucky Scribner, who's had a busy afternoon. Bright back at the 10-yard line. Of course, Scribner would like to put it out of bounds inside the 15. Low, spiraling kick. Out of bounds at the 2. He nailed a beauty. He couldn't have passed it on a rope any finer than that.
I tell you, Bucky Scribner is one happy young man right now, because that was a pressure kick. He knew he had to get a good one off. He didn't know whether they were going to come in and try to block it or not. And I don't think he could have placed it any further if he went down the field and just dropped it.
They have had the football 47 times 1st and 10, just once outside their own 35. With the game on the line, they are 98 yards away from a touchdown and a good 65 yards away from field goal range. 1st and 10 from the Bucks 2. House wide left. James Wilder, who has 150 yards total offense, the tailback. Edger Armstrong motion. How about this? DeBerg from his own end zone. Safety valve. Wilder breaks it. First down and more. Wilder at the 22. A great call by Boyd Dowler and John McKay.
Steve DeBerg has tremendous confidence in throwing to his backs. Here from the end zone, he lofts a pass that is very dangerous. Wilder makes it and makes a great run after the catch, and that gives Tampa Bay some room to operate.
John McKay calls the plays. If it's a running play, he sends in the play formation and the exact play call. If it's a pass, he tells Boyd Dowler, I want a medium range, I want a sideline, I want a long pass, and it's Dowler who sends in the nomenclature and the specific pass play. Wilder, big hole, barrels his way up to the 28-yard line in the grasp of Randy Scott. As far as calling the plays are concerned, John McKay says, hey, whoever calls the signals has the coach's life in his 2 hands. I don't like to give up that kind of responsibility unless I'm sure. He keeps and accepts that responsibility.
And so does Tom Landry and a lot of coaches today in the NFL.
DeBerg, 17 of 30, 3 interceptions. Wilder, 40 carries, 155 yards. He is the NFL all-purpose offensive leader in both ground gain on the yard as well as passing. That's a new category. Wilder again tries to hang on to the football, and the Packers are hanging on to him at the 28. Randy Scott upends him.
The number 37, Mark Murphy, the strong safety, was also in on that play. And Wilder, who likes to, he said his favorite backs were Larry Zonka and Gale Sayers. And I think the reason he says that is because Zonka had tremendous power and could run over people. And Wilder can certainly do that. And Gale Sayers was so elusive that it was very difficult for a defensive player to get a good shot at him. And Wilder, again, has that quality as well, Jim.
10-15 and counting left to go in overtime. The Bucs' only possession so far. Packers got it to midfield and punted on 4th and a foot. Batted down and almost picked off. Big number 76, the rookie out of Florida State, Alfonso Carricker, got his 6'6", 260-pound frame up in there and batted it down. Forrest Gregg told us that the Packers practiced this week on his #1 draft pick. He said sometimes the #1 pick really doesn't deserve it. This young man does. He is dedicated. He's a hard worker. He studies all week, and he is going to be a good one. 2 rookie defensive ends for the Packers. Frank Garcia will punt. Phil Epps should give Green Bay good field position. Garcia and what he's done this afternoon, about a 40-yard average. And Epps is back at the 35 of Green Bay. Spiraling kick. It backs up Epps to the 24. Epps crawls forward up to the 27, and that's where the Packers start 1st and 10. Chris Washington, the first to get there on the specialty teams for Tampa Bay. 10 minutes even left to go in the overtime session. The Packers with 1 timeout. The Bucs have both of theirs, but Green Bay, Gene Puget, they've got the ball.
I think they're a lot more confident than Tampa.
John Jefferson, James Lofton come out wide to the left. Ray Krause, 21. Gary Ellis, 31. The backs for Lynn Dickey, the 13-year veteran from Kansas State. Power football, straight ahead, picks up 2 yards. 2nd down and 8. As we go around the NFL today, the carry was Ray Krause. The Patriots on top over the Jets. Indianapolis at home against hapless Buffalo. Kansas City by 4 against the Browns. St. Louis on the short end to Don Shula's Dolphins. Another big day for Dan Marino. The Seahawks beat the Vikings at the Metrodome. The Bears fall in one of the upsets of the day to the Dallas Cowboys. Chicago in the NFC Central 3-2. The Lions, the Packers, and the Bucs all 1-3 going into action today. Handoff sweeping left to Harlan Huckabee. He hurls his body to the 30, and his body comes back right at him the other way. Scott Brantley, 5th year from Florida, 3rd round pick by the Bucs.
He's been all over the ball all day.
Back to the scoreboard. The Saints rebound against another hapless team, Houston, having all kinds of problems. The Raiders, after clinging to a lead, fell to Denver by a field goal at Mile High Stadium. San Diego clings to that 3-point lead. That's a final. So Detroit now off to a 1-4 start, and that's exactly the way they started off a year ago in the NFC Central. But they came back and they posted a 7-1 mark to win the NFC Central. 7-1 within their division. Redskins shutting out Philadelphia, and you saw San Francisco putting away Atlanta. 2 out of 13 on 3rd down conversion. 3rd and 7. Behind the intended receiver, John Jefferson. Jefferson had a step on the linebacker, and the ball was just misfired by Dickey. They went for all of it. We've talked throughout the telecast, Gene Puget, about the off timing. Watch how open Jefferson gets.
There's 83 Jefferson. He's in the slot. He's working downfield against number 21, John Holt. Holt's taking away the inside. Jefferson with a great fake, and he's open that could win the game. But Dickey could not make the throw, and you got to wonder, Jim, is that flak jacket and that back hurting him now? Dickey, as you know, is injured.
No question about it. He even told us the elastic cuts off his breathing and makes it so difficult. And the fact that he practices all week long without it and then puts it on for the game restricts his passing as well. You want to know what else restricts his passing? Leroy Selman, Hugh Green, and Dave Logan. 4th and 7. And Bucky Scribner, after getting a beauty out of bounds this time, has it slither off his foot, takes a Buccaneers bounce, and now goes the other way to the 33 of Tampa Bay. They started, the Bucs did, from their own 2 the last time they had the ball. This time they start 1st and 10 from their own 33. We'll check the stats on James Wilder, because for those of you who might have joined us late, James has had some kind of an afternoon. 41 carries, 156 yards. That's a personal high. 42 carries would be the best that James has ever done in the carry department, and the NFL record is 43 by Butch Woolfolk. Wilder has also had 4 catches for 43 yards. You might say he's been involved.
That's what you call an all-purpose back.
Again, Lawrence Taylor last week after the Giants played him called number 32 here, James Wilder, the best running back he's ever played against. And Wilder's got the ball. He's got blockers in front of him. He is off. Down to the 47 of Tampa Bay. 1st down. John Anderson saved a touchdown.
Tampa Bay came out in their double wing formation where they have two people off the line. DeBerg hands off, and he gets behind his blockers. Look at Wilder break tackles. He steps right out of a tackle there. He sets up the block, hits that crease full speed. And his totals just keep ticking like a taxi meter.
Well, one more carry by James Wilder, and he will tie the NFL record of 43 set by Butch Wolfhawk of the Giants. Again, 60 minutes in its entirety. An all-new edition kicks off CBS's Sunday night lineup for you following football. DeBerg unloads. Got it at the 44. Crawling to the 43 is Kevin House. About 2 yards shy of first down yardage, but the Bucs are on the move.
Here's an isolated shot of Kevin House, number 89. He comes downfield and lets everybody clear out, and then he finds an open hole, working back to the outside, and goes down on his knees to make the short catch. House, usually a deep threat, can really surprise the defense when he stops short and pulls up like that.
Kevin House played center field on the Southern Illinois baseball team.
I told you could catch.
2nd and 1. Want to bet number 32 might get a call here? Wilder hammers his way to the 41, and that's very close to first down yardage. We now have James Wilder with 43 carries, which ties an NFL record set by Butch Wolfhawk, the Giants and the Eagles, November the 20th of 83.
And you know, the defense has to wonder, saying, gee, this guy's carried the ball 42 times. I mean, is he tired? But Jim Brown used to get up like that after every play, and they said, oh, he's tired. He can't run full speed the next play, and then boom, right by him. Here are the stats on James. Unbelievable. I mean, 43 carries.
He just laughed the other day when we talked to him about his intensity because he practices the same way he plays, and he gets the offensive line or the defensive lineman a little upset. DeBerg now takes a timeout, so both the Packers and the Bucs have used one of two. 6:14 left to go in overtime. The Packers 27, Tampa Bay 27.
You know, that plus I'm sure both teams could use a little rest by now.
6:14 left to go. Forrest Gregg, nervous over on the Packers sideline, brings his Green Bay club in with a record of 1-3.
Yeah, I'd be nervous too. I mean, another first down, and here comes Arreri again. And
Forrest, by the way, has coached 3 teams against Tampa Bay. He's coached the Cleveland Browns, the Cincinnati Bengals, and now, of course, the Packers. And there is the man that survived an 0-26 beginning at Tampa Bay, John McKay. His Bucs went 0-8 last year. Started off, they finished up 2-14 last season, and they've got a 1-3 start this year. Kevin House, wide left. DeBerg fires in the vicinity of the Packer bench. House was in the area, and that's giving him the benefit of the doubt. Pressure by Terry Jones and George Cumbie, staring that man, Steve DeBerg, squarely in the face.
Yeah, Steve was under a little pressure that time. Terry Jones, the nose tackle, did a good escape to get away, and they also had a blitz on with the linebacker coming in to put pressure on Steve. But that's a smart pro play. If you don't have what you want, Joe Walton, coach for the Jets, used to always say, give it to the guy in the first row.
You know, we talked about John McKay surviving that 0-26 beginning. Finally, when the Bucs won a game, they beat the Saints November 12th to 77. Hank Stram, who was the coach of New Orleans that time, was so mad, enraged, he burned the game film.
I know there's some games I played I wanted to burn the game film.
Motion by Carter near side. He's got 7 catches. He's got 8 catches. At the 33, in the grasp of Mark Lee. Now we've got a fight down at the 33-yard line. Gerald Carter and Mark Lee, and it looked like Phil Brown and Jerry yesterday on Sports Saturday.
Well, you can see how much is on the line here in this game, Jim, and emotions are really getting out of control. It's a big game. 2 teams 1-3. 2 teams both have to have it. And you can see this is a lot of emotion here. They've been using that play, by the way, with great success all day. What happens is Carter comes across in motion, and then he sort of ducks inside. Here's DeBerg on the snap, and then you'll see at the top of your screen, Carter streaking across. There he is, open. He puts the ball away, and then it gets a little physical.
The ball came loose. Now let's check in with Chuck Heberling, the referee. Lots on the line. They are shy of first down yardage. Is it a catch? And if it is it offsetting penalties? Mr. Heberling. Must be a long decision.
We have offsetting penalties during the dead ball. 87 here,
twice. 3rd and 3 from the 34 of Green Bay. DeBerg, 19 of 34, 222 yards. He's thrown 3 interceptions. Adger Armstrong, number 46, checks in. He'll be the fullback, free agent, obtained from the Houston Oilers after a collegiate career at Texas A&M. In the backfield with number 32, James Wilder. 3rd and 3. Bucks need it to keep the drive alive. A bootleg. DeBerg unloads to Armstrong. 1st down and more. Inside the 20. Down to the 18. Down to the 17. And another fight. Ezra Johnson almost decapitated one of the officials accidentally. Swung his arms around. His arms went.
Are you sure it was accidentally?
They resemble big redwoods.
Are you sure it was accidentally? I'm telling you, the officials, I mean, both teams would wish that the official would make a call for them. So let's look at it again on the replay. Here we have cross action.
Great
It's
call.
a good fake, and one of the backs from the other side sort of came out. That's Adger Armstrong. Great catch. And then he puts that ball away because the Packers want it. And look at 41 Flynn in there holding on.
The fake, of course, to Wilder sets it up because the Packers anticipating James is going to get the football. Line of scrimmage, the 17-yard line, well within field goal range. But, of course, with the field goal problems the Bucks had a year ago with Bill Capice. Remember, the end of the year last year, John McKay said we will never, ever attempt another field.
And he meant it, too.
1st and 10 for the Bucks. James Wilder. Chopped down from behind. Great penetration by George Cumbie, and another flag comes down. Wilder's 44th carriage from scrimmage. Holding against the Bucks will back him up. So what this begins to do is put pressure on Obed Ariri, the field goal kicker for Tampa Bay.
Number 88, 1st down.
Uh-oh, that's the tight end. That's your old position.
Well, I'm sure it was a bad call. But look, I tell you, Jim, there's a lot of coaches argue over this. You know, when you have sudden death overtime, when you get within field goal range, why not just go ahead and kick it? Because one penalty like that can take you from field goal range to out of field goal range, and then you had a chance to win, and now you don't.
Jim Hannafin tried that last year against the Giants, and Neil O'Donoghue missed a chip shot. 1st and 21. So certainly the Bucks are thinking field goal at this point. They had it 1st and 10 from the 17 of the Packers. Now it's 1st and 21 from the 21. The Packers on defense, they're thinking turnover.
Absolutely. They got to have the ball. They can't let Tampa Bay keep the ball. There's number 2, Obed Ariri. He's the place kicker for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and he's had a couple of field goals a day. One was a knuckleball and one was a curveball. Would that be fair to say?
Well, one was kind of a hanging curveball. That was the 46-yarder that just inched its way over the crossbar, and then a line drive shot of 50 yards by Obed Ariri, who has replaced Bill Capice. Backs are split. Wilder along with Adger Armstrong. This. DeBerg, left side for Giles, drops it at the 6. Penalty flag is down. Mark Murphy on the coverage. Is it offensive or defensive pass interference? Now, Giles is a friend of yours. He plays tight end.
And Jimmy Giles says he loves it when he gets down here because he gets single coverage, and he doesn't think that a safety can cover him.
And Giles is detected for offensive pass interference. So a holding call against Giles. Offensive pass interference. Let's see if we can pick it up.
Here's DeBerg dropping back with good protection this time. Giles had single coverage, and he had the safety Murphy beat. But it's probably before he came out of his break, he probably pushed off a little bit. And I know he's not excited about that call.
Pass interference. Offense, number 87. 1st down.
No, it wasn't on Giles.
If you think John McKay's not excited on the sideline, it was called against that man off the ball. It wasn't against Giles.
Right, it was Gerald Carter, and Gerald Carter wasn't even in the play.
Ezra Johnson, number 90, the 8-year defensive end from Morris Brown, a first-round pick of the Packers in 77, checks in. 15 sacks last year for big number 90, 6'4", 255. He'll be the freight train coming from the top of your screen. DeBerg needs 30. Incomplete, looking for Adger Armstrong out of the backfield. Now the Bucs had worked it down to the 17 of Green Bay, certainly well within field goal range. The line of scrimmage now, the Packers' 38-yard line. That's not within that man's range.
Well, Jim, you've heard of an offensive drive. Well, this is what you call a defensive drive. I mean, if you weren't sure, you would think that Green Bay had the ball. I mean, they were on their own 17, and now they're moving upfield. They're at the 38 now. I mean, maybe Green Bay should think about letting the defense stay in the way they're driving right now.
Clock very much a factor now. Both the Packers and the Bucs with one timeout. 5:24 left to go in overtime. House comes to the near side. Carter to the top of the screen. Melvin Carver 28, James Wilder 32 in the backfield. Everybody's out. DeBerg looks for House at the 12, batted away at the last minute. A good defensive play by Mark Lee, fifth year out of Washington and a number 2 draft pick in 1980. Boy, you talk about lump in the throat time. This is not the time you want to play defensive back.
Right, this is what you call a corner route. He's going to come down and give him a fake to the inside and plant back out to the corner. He's got to step on the defender, and the pass was just a little underthrown. He slipped diving for it. But again, you got to talk about that DeBerg, Steve DeBerg, the quarterback for Tampa, has only had 2 weeks to work with the first unit receivers. And you can see all during the game that his timing is just a little bit off when it comes to hitting them.
3rd and 30 from the 38 of the Packers. DeBerg, 20 of 37, 3 interceptions. Estes Hood, the nickelback, number 38 in for Green Bay. Motion by House across. DeBerg wants it, unloads, fires. Got his man at the 30, and they're working into field goal range with Kevin House.
That's what you call barely getting in the field goal range.
I would imagine they'll take a shot with Obed Ariri out of Clemson. 2 out of 4 in the field goal department. He's got a 46-yarder. He's got a 50-yarder. He missed wide right with another 50-yarder.
There he is, number 2.
The holder will be Blair Keel, the rookie quarterback out of Notre Dame. It is right in the center of the field. Now, Ariri has kicked one 57 yards in college against Wake Forest. He sent 6 NCAA kicking records. Crowd will tell you. Bucs win.